Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to Modern Comic Mayhem. We got a great show for you tonight. We're welcoming in special guest Anthony from Bird City Comics to talk about Third Market. We got Marco, the most hated man in Star Wars, with us tonight, and Kyle. And we're talking everything future state, and so much more.
I like how the enthusiasm of your
Welcome again to Modern Comic Mayhem. I like my enthusiasm too, Kyle, so much that I had to cut you off in the intro.
Dude, awesome. What's up, Solo?
Jesus.
That's funny.
Had to give you just the kibosh right off the bat.
Hey, fuck Anthony from Bird City's here. Fuck was here. Yeah,
yep.
Kyle's here too.
Yep, Kyle's here too. You know, Mr. Sleep's here.
8:30, right?
8:30. We're already live. 8:30.
Oh, thanks, Solo.
Anyway, so hey, we got Anthony here today. Anthony,
yes, welcome.
You know, I've been on a couple of podcasts, and this shit was funny to start.
You always have a good time.
I mean, usually the shenanigans doesn't kick up till after the intro. So that was awesome.
Not here. We always got to start it in a rocky way.
We just called Mayhem for a reason.
That's right. So we're gonna, you know how it's gonna be a good show when it just starts off rocky like that.
It's gonna get rockier because
Well, you know what?
I gotta go.
It's because Anthony's here and Marco's here, but Kyle's here too.
Yeah, Kyle's here too.
Dude, that's fun.
You gotta get excited, man. What's going on, fellas?
It was a big week for Star Wars people. I'll tell you that much. I mean, I know we're gonna get into it later, but like, it was a big week. It was a good week. You're right. You're right. Except for that one girl that's standing up in front of the Darth Vader statue, going like this, dude. I mean, come on, bro. Don't do it to us. Please don't hurt us, man.
It was a big week for DC Comics. Big week in comics in general. Good time to be a comic fan, I guess.
Good times.
Oh, hey, speaking of that comics, I also see Darth Lopez down there. Congratulations, Darth Lopez. Big sale today. That
X23 already bailed because Corbin's not here.
That X23 Delado, though, it was nice.
I don't blame him. I thought about bailing when I found out Corbin wasn't going to be here.
I hear what you're saying.
The show's already bailed since Solo fucking.
Do you see this? Hey, I think he's been writing emails to Brian on a daily since the old Luke comment, and I think we're trying to get him kicked out of here. We'll see. Hasn't happened yet, but we're gonna try.
It could.
Marco ain't getting kicked out of here.
No, but
we'll kick Solo Wookie out way before Marco.
But yeah, so we had a little interesting conversation on the New Year's special last week about the Third Market, but I wasn't satisfied enough. I thought the show needed a different perspective than someone who owned a comic book shop and came from that already established market into selling comics. So we thought we'd offer Anthony from Bird City a chance to come on and talk about the Third Market from his perspective as an individual seller and not owning a shop and just making things happen. So thanks for coming on, Anthony.
Yeah, I appreciate the shout. And you probably worded it the most eloquent way. A lot of these guys that are taking advantage of the Third Market, they have established comic backgrounds, which I did not. Just a fan. So yeah, it's a different way to start, which is really cool because Third Market it's taking on its own shenanigans, as I like to say. It's got a different way of thinking and processing, and it's cool that you can just jump in now. But yeah, it's cool. Appreciate you guys having me on, and yeah.
I mean, I want to know, because I'm not as familiar with everyone else who might be. What kind of got you into wanting to do what you're doing?
Money.
So yeah, right. So here we go. All right, you guys want a good story now? So back in my son did not like reading, refused to do it. And, I'm giving him one of those great parent speeches in the car, and I'm thinking in my head, like, this is fantastic. Somebody should be recording this. And I'm telling him how great reading is, and it's so important. And he's like, oh, all right. What do you read, Dad? Like, shit. Comic books?
He fucking got you.
Yeah, and he's like, comic books. And I just happened to see a store, and I'm like, I pulled in, and we go inside, and we probably spend, $100 in back issues, and him and I buy a ton of comics. Well, it became a weekly tradition just to get him to read. So you go and spend a bunch of money on comics every week. it adds up, and you end up with comics all around your house. So I thought, man, I need to get rid of these things, and then started doing some research, found out that some of the ones I bought were worth money. So you throw them, you start off, everybody makes a mistake by jumping right into eBay. God, that place. And so eventually we started to support our habit, was how it started. We were selling enough in order to buy new ones every week. And then I have a business and marketing background. So once I saw that I was maintaining, I was like, you know what? Let me see if I can subsidize my income off this.
So in comics, it's called getting high on your own supply.
That's what it is.
I know that's funny. A lot of us, I think even me who does shows a lot, like that's how I started doing it too. Like it was all about just like, oh, I don't want to pay for comic books anymore. How can I not pay for comic books anymore? And then when I had kids, it was like, now I have to buy 10 copies of everything because we go through them and they actually start, even for young readers, when they can't read the words, they start looking at the pictures and telling their own stories after they heard you tell the stories. The pictures really help out. Hey, real quickly though, Key Comics does have a question. He actually kind of wants to know what the third market is. I know this is kind of a little bit of a newer term.
Sure.
But if you want to, go ahead.
So third market's kind of first market, we got brick and mortar stores. Then you get your online resources. So third market is more of like a social. To me, it's using social media platforms to, generate income off of. That's kind of the short and sweet of it. So you have your traditional places, but now you can go watch a show on Facebook, which blew my mind when I heard people actually did that. It's funny. I don't do this, but I'm actually approved through Facebook to charge people to attend and watch my shows.
What?
Yeah, I can actually charge like
even more fucking
a 50-cent fee just for people to be able to get my feed, which I think is hilarious. I'll never do that. But yeah, and so that's kind of what sums up third market, get that social media platform. And it really blew up right around, and I hate saying the word, but COVID hit. So we were social distancing and all this stuff. So people started to interact more online over social networking, streaming, party, what do they call that? Where you party watch things together on Facebook and all this and that stuff. And that really kicked the third market into gear. I mean, we started just cooking at that point, because what else are you going to do?
How was it like starting to get, so like you didn't have that, now people know Berg City Comics, but trying to get that namesake, around the valley, there's comic book stores, so people already know who they are. So when they see them on, social media, they think to go there, but what does it entail to get, hey, I want to start selling this. I want a bunch of fucking customers. Like, I mean, what does that have to actually entail?
So you went back to saying the high on your own supply. The cool thing about getting into comics is that you're so excited to be a part of something, especially once you start to get the hang of how to collect and buy, and you got your Wednesday stores down. Everybody tends to overbuy. So by the time you figure out what it is you want to collect, you're sitting on inventory. Think of it that way. So every person that's been hooked into comics, you're sitting on a store already, because I guarantee you 60% of what you bought initially, you don't even want anymore once you've zeroed in on what you actually enjoy and like. So a lot of these collectors that buy, I mean, they've got their store ready to rock. So that's the first part, is that you want to make sure that you have everything so that you can actually support and put out the books and however you want to do it. But then building your brand, it's scrappy, bro. There's so many people that do it. I mean, you have a webcam and a decent internet connection, and you can go online and say, hey, I got comic books to sell. So I know it sounds super corny, but customer service is huge. Like Facebook even times the interactions. Like if somebody sends me a question, and if I don't respond to it in half, I actually lose points, because you're supposed to respond in so much time, and it's a whole thing. It's a big competition online.
And that's like your major platform is Facebook for this, which is interesting to you too. I mean, I know that there's obviously a bunch of different ways to do it. That's really cool. But also something that's cool is you do a lot. We were talking earlier about some of your exclusives, right? Yeah. So you got a big foothold in the exclusive markets. Could you talk about that real quickly?
Yeah, absolutely. So that was always our end game, is that selling back issues, it's a lot of work. And most of it's not worth, a lot of money. So when you buy things, you gotta, I mean, I've got 3 rooms in my house full of comic books, and you don't want to be that. What's that?
Join the club.
Problems.
See, okay, you guys get it. So the problem with that is, do you want to sell $100 or 100 books and make $100, or do you want to sell one book and make $100? Is kind of that decision you need to make. And I don't want the overhead of a brick and mortar store. I just think that the way that we're heading as how we shop and how we consume product, it's all on an online platform. So I'm going to live here as long as I can.
Yeah, which is interesting because like there's still going to be both, right? You're always, or for a lot of time there is, but a lot of people now can break into that online. It's a lot easier because there's so many, like you said, everybody's got a cable connection. And what does a cam cost you nowadays? Most computers come with it. You can people can do it on their phone. I've seen people do it on their phones, and it just, even the quality of phones nowadays, it's good quality, man. It really is.
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny too is that sometimes even when it's not good quality, collectors know what they want. So they'll go buy. I saw this one guy. He's literally on his cell phone, smoking a cigarette, sitting outside, holding up comics and going, "This one's $5 and this one's $10, or whatever it is." But if it's something you want, you'll buy it from him. It doesn't have to be the cleanest and smoothest setup. I mean, he's got the book I want. It's the price I want it at. So there's a whole secondary group of people that are trolling these, looking for new shows and stuff to take advantage of good pricing, because everybody wants to wheel and deal. It's exciting. It's fast paced. It's pretty crazy stuff.
Man, I remember one time I seen this one kid. He advertised his books. He had real nice books. He had a nice tag list he got on.
Yeah.
You could tell he was in his garage. He was set up. He put up a book and he was like, can't even remember what book he started with, but it was like, you could tell he had bought his books at like the maximum you could buy a book. So like he bought a book at like $200, but the book was only worth like, $70 now. So he started the bidding at $250.
Oh jeez.
And people were like, well, the books were $70, and you know how the glory of the internet is, man. As ravenous as people are, man, they went after him. And he tried so hard for so long, but every book he could tell that he bought
way above that. Yeah.
And he tried to say, he was trying to sell it for more than that when he'd bought it. And
it's hilarious.
He cried and he shut his camera off, and I never seen him again.
Yeah, it's funny, man, that these guys. So the way we do our pricing is I do it I call it the active market. So what you're saying, what the book is going for now, because nothing drives me more than like, oh, I need $500 for this book. Maybe it got that 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. I've had people say this to me, and they go, "Hey, you want to do a trade or whatever it is?" And I look at the book, and I'm like, "Your book's not worth what you think it's worth." And they'll pull up a sale. It's the highest sale that they could find from whenever it was, not even the most current. So when we put up our books, I try to average it out from the top 10 sales. I'll average it out, and then I'll beat the price. That's how we've always done it. But again, that's third market. Third market is a will and deal. It's fast paced, like I was saying, and first market, second market, price tag. Third market, there's some wiggle room, and if you don't do it right, you can be taken advantage of. You give out too many discounts, people get used to that. So when you try to get firm, they're like, "I'm not watching these guys anymore. You're jerks, and you changed." There's so many things that could go wrong. It's a ton of fun. It's so stressful.
You guys are fun to watch because there's shit going on. You guys are having fun. It's not like this book is $8. Here's the timer.
No.
That's going to be a big part of it too, is your character and your persona, being a personable person and having fun. I mean, if you're up there and you're trying to sell books and you look miserable, I mean, you can't sell nothing. But if you're having a great time and you got good prices, you can sell a drowning man a glass of water.
Oh, dude. And it's completely true. And Laura, when we first started this, Laura got involved a little bit once we were starting to get established. She kind of was looking, and at first she was really suspicious. She's like, "Hey, how come you never spend any money out of our account?" She had no idea comic book money was supporting my McDonald's habit, and stuff like that. And so when she saw the numbers, she's like, "I want to be involved." And I'm like, "That's great. Let's knock this out together." And she came up with the concept. We're a show first that happens to sell comic books. And when I heard that, I'm like, that's how you hook people in. And we built our whole show around that concept that it's a show. We just happen to sell comic books.
So when she said that, you were like, "You want to
I thought it was brilliant
with me instead of staying in the living room?"
And she's like, "Hell yeah, I do." And we got to work, and it's been a lot of fun ever since then. And then my whole philosophy is if I got to be there, I'm going to have a good time no matter what it is. So,
Laura equated, like, at one point she was like, wait a minute, these shoes that I want are like $135, and that comic book, I can sell that and have an extra $135 for these shoes. And she's like, I'm in. I will sling books all day long for shoes.
Oh, dude, I can tell you what, I can pay Laura in like Lululemons and she'd be happy.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, she's in. She's money motivated. She's probably one of the smartest people I've ever met. So when she's, usually I bounce ideas off her and then she'll straighten it out and kind of make it doable. And I'm like, right on.
Well, she's got that artistic eye too. So she has that natural knack for a good looking cover that's gonna, sell well in the market or play well on the screen, and how to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. She's that's funny. Yeah, Laura and I have been a pain in people's asses in a good way, because we love and respect everybody we work with that does what we do similar, but at the end of the day, we're all pushing the audience to sell books, and Laura and I together, people just love to hate us because we're married, so we get to hang out and do this all day, so we get that right away. People are like, oh, that must be nice, and I'm like, yeah, it kind of is. So yeah, her and I work well together.
So this is something this is one of them. I had it in the background already. I forgot to scratch off, but I took care of it. Like, this is how it comes too. So I've ordered from Anthony before. Like this, and this book, I wanted to hold on to this till now because we knew we were going to do it. This was during the holiday. We ain't going to tell you what I'm in here because I'm not going to let you know what I'm buying. But that was during the holiday season, and like, just for it to come, there was a lot of messed up packages that didn't look anywhere close to the way they came out of Bird City. And you're getting a lot of comments in the chat right now that's saying how good you package it. And it's the truth. This isn't my first package for them. I know what it looks like on the inside, but even on the outside, I've tried to mail stuff better, but whatever they're doing over there, they're doing a real good job. So
yeah, when you get a package from Marco, it just says fragile all over it. Fragile, Mr. Fragile.
Duct tape and fragile.
Yeah.
You know what it is though? Is that I'm super vindictive. So when I started ordering stuff off eBay and I got my first, everybody's got a story, but I had my first really damaged package, and I was like, damn mother, I was pissed at that person. I thought I could do this better. So I did. If I buy a comic, that's how I want it shipped. So that's how we ship.
That's how I always looked at shipping. I want it to show up the way I want it to show up to my house. So
yep.
Why would I skimp out if I won't want it skimped out coming to me?
Mm-hmm. And that's why we got the 2-inch shipper that we do, 12 books or under, but it's got a 1/2 inch on the top and the bottom and a whole inch on the side for padding around. Like, we think about all these things. And they're bagged and boarded and bubble wrapped. What's that?
You bubble wrap it?
Oh yeah, they're bubble wrapped. They're in an envelope to keep them tight, and then they're bubble wrapped on the inside, and then we throw in stickers and coupon codes and
only shipped to the comic book store with that much care.
Too right.
I think about that all the time. I'm like, the way it came to the comic book store, I'm putting so much love into care into making sure that it gets to this other person. It like getting to the comic store, they didn't give a fuck.
I get 2 shits. Here's some of the stuff we throw in there. So
Joe, hold on. Joe, did I send you something real quickly? I think it's just smiley faces. It says FR, and then there's smiley faces the rest of the way. I don't get all into big words and stuff like that. I'm into the picture books, bro. Go ahead. Show them what you got.
Yeah, little stuff you'll get in there. I got, stickers, coasters for your beverages. Sometimes we'll throw pens in. So it's just cool stuff. I actually get people to get mad and they go, I didn't get a sticker this week. I'm like, shit, dude, I ran low. Sorry. You got 50 of our refrigerator magnets. You're all right.
Now, do you have a pretty good hookup on swag, stickers and stuff like that? Like, do you have...
what did you just call it?
Swag.
Swag.
No, you called it drag.
Swag.
Trag. I heard
swag,
swag.
man.
What the fuck?
Would you like me to spell
I just thought that was a
No, it's all right. We don't need to turn this into a spelling bee.
All right.
Like that trag.
Cheap.
No, I don't have any hookups. I pay what everybody else pays, which kind of sucks, but it's the experience,
Yeah. No, I didn't know if you had, because that's always something I know a lot of people are always looking for is that. I mean, that just helps the business.
We do Sticker Mule, and what we do is that they send, if you sign up for their newsletter, they send out once a month like a promo item. And so we always order what the promo is because it's always something different. They're die cut, or it's a pen, or it's a coaster this time. I have freaking packing tape that has my logo on it that I never use, but it was
Nice.
the promo, so I bought it.
So I want to know, like, you don't have to give away your secrets, but from start to finish, how do you plan out your show when you're gonna go? Do you go, okay, we're gonna sell these books, and then do you sit down and like write a script out of how you and Laura are gonna
No, he just lets the white claws flow.
act, or like skits, or you're just gonna go for it and just turn the camera on and start selling?
No, so we don't. So the amount of thought that goes in is more on my side. Laura's she sits down, dude, and she's just on. Like I don't have to tell Laura anything. But the way that we do the comic books is, and people are starting to catch on now, is you got them on a rotation because when you start to like with your guys' show, you get your regulars on that watch. So if you talked about the same content 2 shows back just to refresh it again, it's too soon, and they're gonna call you out on it. It's the same thing with comic books. You have to have a big active inventory, so we got them on a rotation. So we've got customers that are on. They're like, "Oh, here are the claw books again." I'm like, "Dude, I gotta sell these at some point. I can't just keep them locked, start poking fun," because they do watch all the time and regularly. So there's a little trick of the trade. You don't want to show the same stuff, because it becomes repetitive. People go back and watch. That's another thing. Rewatches. You miss the show, they'll go back and watch, and I'll get screenshots and go, "Do you still have this book, this book, this book?" And they'll shop their screen watches. But yeah, just to keep it fresh because they will call you out on putting up books that you had
You
last
don't
week.
put like a book up like that Hulk 181. You don't put that up, make it with making it think that you're gonna sell it, but it's just there the whole time and they never get around to it. So
Like
people just hang out the whole fucking show waiting for that cool book, and you just keep getting it.
Like what do they do? Like the eBay mystery boxes. It's always a Hulk 181 and a Fantasy 15, and it's just this is in one of the boxes. Sure it is. No, I don't clickbait people. I used to put up previews of what I was going to do, and people started arguing over like, "Hey, I want that. Sell it to me now." And it's like, "No, you got to make it to the show." So then I stopped and I switched. So what we do is we put up an advertisement. "Hey, we're going to be live tonight. What do you guys want to see?" And people will give me character ideas. So then I'll run in the back and I'll pull something specific for that aspect of the show, plus our rotation. And then if I want to do any sales because I'm bored, sometimes I just get a wild hair and I'm like, "That stuff you guys wanted last week that was way too expensive, guess what? It's not expensive anymore." And then Laura goes, "What?" And I'm like, "I'm tired of putting it back in the box. It's got to go."
How are you keeping inventory up? Do you have a regular supplier, or do you go around and shop every shop, or what's your main motive for grabbing
Give us all the secrets
more and
so we can
new
open up our
fresh
own.
I
books?
got you guys. I got you. So the back in the day, it was hitting shops and hoping I can catch hot books before they caught on that it was in their inventory and buy them at the old sticker price.
Mhm.
And so I started off on the Wednesday grinds. Now, luckily, we're in a position where people will come to us with collections. We'll buy collections actively by searching. You got to start looking out of state sometimes. You got to really dig around.
Mhm.
Comic book shops that have just gone out is a big one.
That was
And
my next question, was whether or not you did a
Yeah.
lot of comic shops and a lot of out of state.
yeah, exactly. So do you guys remember Comic Market Street?
Mhm.
So the guy closed up shop, and him and his wife were gonna do something different. I bought out his entire store, and that was my first big buy. Scared the hell out of me. Because it was all, it was
I was going to ask you
That's a
about
big
your first big
investment.
buy too.
Oh, well, and I couldn't not do it because he was the one that started Natalie Saunders in a lot of these covers. I mean, she did covers leading up to him, but he was the first shop that was like, "Hey, you're gonna do cover after cover for us and be a regular." So when I bought his inventory, I'm sitting on a lot of Natalie Saunders old stuff, and that artist and those books really got my foot in the door because they sold consistently and I had bulk. That's when I got my first taste for exclusives, and I always knew to myself, I want to deal with one book at a time. I'll do it in bulk, and do it right, and that's where I want to eventually get to.
So when you're looking to do exclusives, do you work with like already made artists, or do you ever go through like DeviantArt and be like, "That dude's art's cool. Let me hit him up and see if he wants to do an exclusive for me"?
Yeah, so one of the things that we do right now is we use the indie market to try out artists. And then for the DC and Marvel stuff, you have to go through established people, and that's also a scary game because you're out there trying to make connections, and it's hard to be a fan. And like, did I ever tell you the story when Greg Horn called me the first time? I answered the phone with so much attitude because I didn't recognize the number. So I see, and I don't know if it's a customer or not. I'm not used to because I don't know. I wasn't giving out my cell phone.
I don't give a shit about my car's extended warranty. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
Is this Anthony? Yeah. Who's this? This is Todd. Todd who? Todd McFarlane? Yeah, sure it is, Bill. I know it's you, Bill.
I know who you are, Sneaky Bill.
That is almost verbatim the way that went down. He calls. Hello? Is this Anthony? Yeah, who is this? This is Greg. I don't know a Greg. Greg Horn? Ah, shit. Greg Horn? The artist Greg Horn? He's like, yeah. He's like, DC wanted me to reach out to you because you're interested in doing a comic. And I'm like, oh, hi. How are you? Laura's like rolling her eyes at me. She's like, I can't believe. Afterwards, she's like, I cannot believe you answered the phone that way.
I know it's you, Marco. Stop fucking with me. God damn it, Marco.
That's what I'm doing from now on. Now I'm starting to call everybody and acting like I'm going to act like I'm artist and stuff. That's a brilliant idea. And then try to sell you a warranty on your car, even if you don't have one.
I'm just
Who the fuck is this? Oh, that's Greg from Pulo. Oh, please hold for Anthony.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Hi,
That was,
Greg. How's it going?
The 1970s fastback. It doesn't have a warranty. It never did.
You know what's even worse now is that I have my phone. Again, I'm trying to. Oh, Darkhawk 1. Yes.
They're giving a hard time in the chat. So we got to show them a modern masterpiece right there. Darkhawk.
But I got a phone call earlier today, and it was a customer, and I just said, "This is Anthony," because I was typing something. He's like, "Is this Bird City Comics?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, this is Bird City Comics. Sorry about that."
You should have said, "Hold, please."
Play it off. Just put some kind of music on your phone and just be like, "Oh, jeez."
Hey, I know we're having. Look, I hate to bring down, but I have this question. We're gonna hit it. Yeah, I know. I do. Okay, I got it.
Listen, Ben Roethlisberger, calm down over there, all right?
Hated man in Star Wars. Please be the most hated man on this show as well.
I didn't know Ben Roethlisberger. Anyways, my wife hates that. She's like, "You're way better looking than Ben Roethlisberger." I was like, "Thanks." I know it's somebody on the internet. It doesn't matter.
To compliment yourself.
That's not what I did. I was going to ask him about the print. Print runs have been really huge, and we're actually going to address the print runs later on. We're gonna address print runs later on, and this is one thing that kind of confuses people a lot of time is with exclusives and print runs. Is there a way you could explain? Maybe even just, I mean, I know you do some of the independents, how it works there, and then maybe how it works on the big two. I think people are intrigued about that.
Yeah, so print runs on the big two is the easiest. It's pretty standard rule of thumb. It's trade dresses are always going to be printed at 3,000. They don't do any less than that. DC is 1,500 on Bs and 1,000 on Cs, but you can always go higher than any of those. But that's your minimums. Marvel is 1,000 for the B and the C cover.
So virgins are 1,000, and it's three. It's intro. You have to intro with the 3,000. So you got to do 3,000 trade dress automatically. That's your buy-in.
Automatically buy-in.
So it's already 3,000 there. Then you're 1,000 if you want to do virgin after that.
Yep. And then if you want to cover C, yeah.
But it's 1,000. You can add on how many you want to the 1,000, right?
Right. So the Punchline book, I loved that Punchline Blood Money C cover so much. We bumped it up to 1,200. So we took another 200 on that one.
That's nice.
Yeah, so I know that there's a whole. Oh man, you guys want to get into some crazy stuff?
Well, and real quick, how fair is that price? Now, don't give us specifics. I don't want to know. But so you ordered 1,200. I assume you have to pay for all 1,200 ahead of time. I mean, are you paying $4 a book or $2 a book? You know what I mean? Like, is the ballpark reasonable? That's what I've always wondered.
So let me say it this way: with the amount of books, obviously you're buying in bulk, so you're getting a good price on them.
Mm-hmm.
But again, your average project is anywhere from $17,000 to $25,000. So everybody, we get that too sometimes, where people are like, "How could you sell this item? I know you paid $5-6 for it." Well, I paid for 4,500 of them though, so and that's the difference.
Because it's artist fees too and everything. I mean. We can break that all down too, maybe some other time where it breaks down what it is, but I don't think we even need to get that far into that portion of it. Just I think people had like print counts and stuff like that. No. And yeah, you're not paying the regular FOC cost for whatever they're normally paying. It's like 5
Right.
times, 6 times what that would be per.
Well, there's just so much stuff that goes into the one because now you're talking. What if they're ratio variants? Ratio variants. Let's say they're 1 in 25s at 4,500 comics. That's another big part of the bill that just went up, and those are optional. But of course, you want them. Then there are the artist fees, and there's shipping because you got to ship freight. Everything comes on pallets. It's insane the amount of work that goes into producing one book.
Yeah, that's something we're going to talk about later too with the shipping because it comes out of different printers too, and then it depends on how much pallet space. So like one printer might have X amount of books that they can put on pallet space. The next printer that they use to go to the hub goes to there. And do the books come direct to you or do they go out to the distributor and then come to you?
So Diamond distributes for Marvel. So printer Diamond to me. DC is shipping themselves. But going through Lunar, I think Lunar took over now. The other one's out the door. Takes care of the ratio. So the DC is the only one that comes from 2 separate places right now. I'm assuming they're going to transfer that over at some point.
Then do you see Los S's question right there? How consistent are damages with the exclusives?
So Marvel does something cool. They give you 3% damage ratio on top.
It's real consistent. They fuck up every book.
Well, dude, Diamond's packaging is so much different from Lunar's packaging. It's ridiculous. So Diamond, I would say my DC run, I probably get anywhere from 3 to 10% damage rate. It's about average, but it's not even. It's what we call salvageable damage. So if you got a press, you're good because the box on the inside they use thick cardboard and you get 2 flaps on the bottom. So each book on the bottom and the top gets this mean roll, and that's all it is from sitting there with so many comics on top of it. You press those right out. Marvel's a different ballgame because of the kind of paper they print on. DC uses a little thicker cardstock, plus Diamond's packaging and shipping it, which they don't do fantastic. That's why they offer the 3% on top. DC doesn't offer anything on top of your print because they do it so well.
Yeah, I mean, and there's inconsistency too because depending on what printer it comes from, right? Like it's not like I think people don't understand, and we'll get more into it later. But it's not like Disney is in the printing product business. They don't make toys either. Like they don't do that. So it really depends. Like I think the question is because of the quote unquote marble rub or the printer error. Like you'll see it like sometimes when they're like, oh, well, how come some books have printer error and some don't? Well, a lot of times, or the rub is because that's how it came out of the printer. And since it's different printers, it's very easy to get that. But that's neither here nor there. It's interesting.
My big one at the top is the corner splits. You guys know, like when they fold the page and then it splits on the tops. And then you'll get half your boxes with good splits. That's why I think CGC and CBCS doesn't count that as damage anymore. It's a printer error, so that doesn't count towards the grade. I think it's because they know it comes from multiple printers and half of them fold them right and the other half don't.
Sure.
Yeah. That's really, it's interesting. The 3, and I have salvaged old when they used to have regionals. So I think we kind of got into this in the show before, but it used to be before Diamond 2, it used to be regional and regional boxings. And as much as we want to knock even Diamond or whatever else, it's a lot better than it used to do because they used to put them in like this and then just send it out and you'd be lucky whatever you got was in any type of shape. So it's still better. The paper, depending on how they're doing it and how the printer is. Because like, look, man, you're doing full pallets of different runs too, right? So like, I get it, but I understand. I think the issue with Marvel and the issue with Diamond has been well addressed before, and hopefully one day it'll get a little better, but I don't think that day is today. So,
and you know what? I noticed something with Marvel, and I might just be completely full of it, but I thought I heard somewhere they're actually using a heavier ink now to support the paper because the books do look better because they used to have that newspapery type feel, that really thin, flimsy paper, and they seem thicker, but they're using the same paper stock. So somebody had told me, I don't know if they're full of it or not, that they're upgrading their ink to support the paper. I'm like, all right, I guess that's something.
That sounds like using thicker drywall to hold up the framing.
You got it, right? So some guy's telling me this, and I'm like, the logic sounds like there's something there. But at the same time, I don't know if I buy it, but whatever. The books are nicer.
Asked to tell you something, and so he sounds convincing. You're like, yeah, fuck yeah.
Dude, they're spec on paper.
Shittier paper. Gotcha.
So I will say from what little I do know from the printing end of it, like there is regulations that Marvel makes sure that all the printers who print it out have, and it's different than independents where like independent, you have to find an already like okayed regular printer to print your stuff through. And then you have to find pallet space, stuff like that. But with Marvel, I think there was I don't want to get into it too much. There was when the Marvel rubs started getting overlooked and people were really complaining about it, and they were sending back so many returns because they were getting something like a 25-point click on the return. Okay, for the damage return, they're already paper thin on the profit margins on that, right? So they're like, yeah, no, we can't do this anymore.
Comics.
What's that? So I think they kind of upgraded a couple things. I think they made the paper quality a tad bit better, not great, mind you, because they had to use recycle. They also have like this. They have a certain.
There's a whole science to it. You're hitting it all on the head. There's a whole science, and that's what I mean. There's even spec on. I can't tell you the conversation length about paper like this guy and I had, and I'm like, we're really talking about what paper these things are printed on, and we weren't even talking about comic, like the actual books, the content. So yeah, you're hitting it on the head. They got to do those little things and just to get it squared away where.
And I think that was it. You saw there was a lot of motion too when Marvel took over, like when they started doing their buyouts, when they had you're having to use more printers because you don't own the printers, and you also at the same time had to like kind of get it down and make sure it was running on time. Disney bought. I mean, it wasn't as easy a transition, especially considering the dollars weren't there. So, and they were coming out with bigger lines and stuff like that. But that one day I'll write a history of comics, I guess, and we can go into those a little bit deeper.
Shit, quote me. I got you.
Right.
I want to hear about more of this Marvel rub. That sounds
this
nasty.
right here. I love how Marco always says he doesn't want to get into it, but gets into it anyway.
It's not get into it. It's like the rabbit hole. If I start going, and look at Anthony will tell you, he sees where I'm going with this, and this is a 3-hour conversation just on that portion. And honestly, there's another segment we're going to get into later because it ties it to the Star Wars thing, because there was somebody released an article saying like, oh, the print run was this, and then it became a big print run issue. Well, we'll tell you how the print run kind of works down outside of the exclusive thing, and it's nowhere close to what people are writing in magazine articles or whatever, or online, whatever they call themselves. But whatever.
I'm gonna ask a girlfriend later. Hey, you want to try Marvel rub?
The Marvel rub. Oh my god, the Marvel rub. You know what?
Yeah.
The problem with Marvel rub is this: like, once people heard, like, I think Thanos 13 Albuquerque is the most famous first Marvel rub that didn't get dinged, right? That's everybody knows that book, right? Chad, everybody knows Thanos 13, the first. Okay, and as soon as that cleared, as soon as that cleared, I think dude, I would just hear people at stores all the time going, looking at like damage, because Marvel got away with it for a little bit. So every damaged book Marvel was printing out at that point, people were like, well, yeah, that's the Marvel rub thing. And I'm like, color breaking, like, it's not the same. Like, it isn't the same. And then they started getting a huge return, because I think the pre-screening really had a lot to do with that. When people started pre-screening stuff and all of a sudden it came back and they're like, wait, isn't that Marvel rub? No, that's damaged Marvel because they didn't regulate their printers enough. Like, that's what that was.
And when that hit the fan, people are walking in. I don't know if you guys do. They go to the LCS, and people don't like go, "Oh, that's a cool book," and snatch off shelf. They go, and I'm like, "Are you going to read that?" Yeah, I'm going to read it. What are you checking it for then?
Yeah. Or I don't get what.
What kills me is how they sit and they'll sit and they'll look over the top of the whole book. And I mean, they'll pull out a freaking magnifying glass and check it all out and never look at the back.
I was just about to say,
and they'll be like, that's a good book. And they'll take it. The whole back is like white and just covered in dirt. And it looks like a kid slapped it in the mud and then wiped it off the top and cleaned it and put it on the shelf. They never look at the back. They always look at the front.
That's my favorite. And I always think that too when they're examining them. I'm like, if he doesn't take that out of that bag and board, he has wasted his time.
This is the one I love. This is the one I love. And there's some things like, listen, when I'm looking at, there's some things you could tell real quickly. I don't understand why they're doing it, because they're not, because they're looking at but they go like this, right? They take the book and they're like this. It's like, here, okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah. You don't even see their eyes go spine or go down here, because like where Marvel gets a split, and then they get, you get the little. Sometimes you get the where the mid staple is. You'll get the ink runoff right there, right? And then you get the little tilt where color breaks right at that mid staple, where they don't look at the side spine. They're just doing this the whole time in the lights. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with it. You can do it all you want. But while you're doing that, you're taking your thumbs here and you're like pressing on the book. This one, I saw a guy do it. He left the LCS, and I go to the manager of the store. I said, next time that guy comes in here, Like, I know you're only selling one copy of some books. You should charge him for every book he touched. And he's like, well, why is that? I was like, because his thumbprint is literally, make him wear gloves. His thumbprint is pressing every, and I'm doing it on this book. I'm just going to keep this book anyways. But like,
Now we have to say that.
yeah, right. But yeah, I mean, they're thumbprinting it down. And look, good to you. You should try to learn how to do it. I'm all for that. And if you want
While we're talking about thumbs, everybody hit that thumbs up button.
I'm all for helping you out with it or whatever, but like, you're right, Anthony. The people in Solo Wookiee, stop tilting it. Like, what are you doing?
You know how the CGC guys grade, right? They aside from their desk and their magnifying glass, they turn off all the lights and leave one light on. They're not walking around a fluorescent store. You're not going to catch all that. You know? I don't understand this in-depth. Like, I have people that say it too. I don't give my books grades. So what I do is I do a book eval where they say, hey, what's the condition on this one? So I will grab the book and I take it out of the bagging board. Now I'm like 6 spine ticks. You got color breaks here. You know, I take them through the whole thing and they're like, what grade do you think? And I'm like, I don't know. Send this to CGC. They'll let you know. But I'll tell you every damage that's on it.
That's how you end up with, oh yeah, it's an 8.0 and then you get it back and it's a 5.
No, look, if you're it is like a gamble, like you're feeling it out like a lottery ticket, sometimes like a scratch off. Like if you look at it and you see the split or the bet, like it's 2 seconds, right? Like there's no 15 flips. God bless you if you think it is. Do your thing, man. If that's your good luck charm, flipping the book upside down, putting 6 thumbprints in it, like that's your. I'm talking like when you pull it off the wall, it's already got a background in it. You're in the bag. What are you doing? You have to check the split on the side. You have to check if you're not pulling it out the bag. You're checking the split on the side. You're checking the ink run, which will happen every once in a while, and you're checking for those spine ticks around the.
Make sure nobody drew a dick on anything.
See, that's it. But that's just Marvel. That what you just said.
Totally Marvel thing.
For Marvel books. DC books, you don't have to check any of that. You just check. You just check for ticks, right? Dead center between both staples.
Yeah, I mean that's what it is. So like, I just think when people see it, like. I hate to do it in front of people too, because I'm like, oh man, like, because I judge everybody that does it. But like, I'll have 2 books there and be like, okay, I'm gonna take a gamble. The price is right for me to take a gamble on it, right?
Right.
Price is right for it. I'm gonna do it really quickly. Flip one out, flip one in. I don't want to hold up a line. I don't want to be the guy that's like in there. And then Inspector Gadget comes 2 people over, and by the time he's done inspecting the book, which he's ending up buying, he already ruined the book. Like, that's.
Yeah. But you know what it is though, is that all this collecting has given us all OCD, and and it's a real thing. Like a lot of these, oh dude, like I have to buy things now or I panic. Like when I buy a cover, I have to get the variant with it, and I put them in a bag and board on a Silver Age one. It's my routine, and I put them back to back facing each other. So the staples, you know, when you sit too many staples on one side, you get a roll in your books.
Mm-hmm.
So I Silver Age bag, I double board it, and I put each variant on each side of it so they even each other out, so it's a square. And everything in my personal collection is like that. And you know how much time that took me? That OCD kicked in and it killed me.
Now you prefer double boards over, because now there's a lot of products out there that just are thicker board, a single board, but they're way more rigid. And I'm just asking personal preference. Maybe it's a costing for you, or maybe, and it's one of the things that we've talking about on the show. You know, what bags, what boards, there's so many styles out there now. Do you just go lenticulars for everything with a thicker board? Do you, I mean, what do you prefer?
So I've experimented with this. I started with like 4 mil Mylar bags because I was like, I want these things to last. And then that was a little ridiculous. So then I dropped down to the 2 mil Mylars, and I was just doing individual books. And then I was starting to see your long box will start to develop a roll where the books will start to turn into each other because of the spine. And again, the OCD kicked in. I'm like, no, I bought these. I inspected them all. They're safe. I want them to look good. So then I started using the double boards because I know MyLite, unless you go with the MyLite brand, I believe they're the only one that does a double-sided, the glossy side board.
Yeah.
Standard CBW board is one gloss side, the other side's flat.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I started doing the double board, because it's cost effective. Eventually, and she's gonna hate this, I'm gonna switch to the clear backer boards because they're thicker. I only need one, and they look super badass.
But then you not only look at the front of the book, you can examine the back of it.
You got it.
And see, so I haven't seen a lot of those yet, and I'm super interested in opinions on the thickness and how rigid they are or not, how well they do or don't work, how they work in a Mylite versus, just your regular Mylar, bag. There's so many questions that I think are not answered and nobody's talking about.
Yeah. Even how you store them. If you've got, I'm in Arizona, dude. We don't have basements and nobody uses their attic. So everything that's stored is going to be around some type of lighting that could hurt your books.
Sure.
And so, that's where the Mylights come in because they do offer some UV.
I don't know. I put mine in boxes, and the boxes are pretty dark when you put the lid on it.
Yeah, see, but Matt knows this. In Arizona, dude, they put a window in every room because the dirt and the cactus outside. We don't have any sub basement stuff because we don't need it. They're hot, so it's flat, it's dry, and there's tons of lights and windows everywhere. So
I don't live in Arizona. Fuck that.
I don't know if you guys can see what I did here, over here. So like this. So I use the divide. I put the plastic divider, right? The plastic category. Then I put a bag and board in between, blank bag and board in between on both sides, so that you also don't get light, and it keeps it up straight there so it doesn't move. And then I rotate. So like these boxes will rotate through. I don't do longs because of the same reason you were talking about. It's first off, so since I do shows, even if it's not personal, moving longs is tough. It just is, man. I'm not as young as I used to be anymore. So I do everything to shorts. But even with rotating them through, because I'll switch and push off every once in a while and move them on the shelf so they don't get the push and make sure that everyone's not rolling like that too. I mean, it's definitely a big game, especially now. They're right. There's a lot of people in the chat that are saying people are our grade snobs, and a lot of this is Silver Age, so like that's a different game. But even in Silver Age, there's a lot of high grade stuff coming out, and to be honest with you, in my opinion, the grading companies are grading a lot easier now than they did 2, 3, 4, even 2 years ago. They're grading a lot easier now than they used to grade.
We have a running joke with graders because typically you're right, they're really good, and then you'll send in a lot of books, and you'll get them back, and they're shitty grades. And I'm thinking, damn, and this is the running joke. Damn, you got that one guy that got into a fight with his wife the night before, and he went to work pissed, and here are your grades. We hate that guy.
Wow. Dick before he came in.
Did you not get the hookers and cocaine that I sent the night before I got my books?
I put a 50 in my books.
I'll send him a shirtless pic if I get a couple more 9.8s out of it instead of 9.6s.
I put a 50 in there. Even my coverless books get 9.8s.
I'll even flex and suck in my gut, man.
I've had some stuff come back from some of those pre-screens, and like I wish I would have kept the notes on them, like stuff they put on.
For notes.
Yeah. Well, they didn't use. Yeah. I mean, now it's worse. Especially
want to know where your books are.
I always look, small spine tip. I still don't see that motherfucker on there.
No. I'm talking like somebody was like, there's thumbprints running through the entire book, and there's unidentified substance on the front. And I'm like, dude, I got this book out of the diamond box, took it to my presser who wears gloves, and was watching him do it. Nobody put who put a thumbprint in something on the that didn't.
I think they include their fuck ups on our books.
I think it's funny that they charge to tell us why our books are less in value.
Yeah.
So your grade just $20 you, and then you're gonna charge me to tell me why it cost me 20 less in value on top of that.
Yeah, I mean, I get the thing where if your book's near mint, and by the way, near mint isn't just 9.8. Like I get, you're not gonna give grader notes on near mint stuff. Like if you come back and you get a 9.6, like sorry, the volume now is so much like it's near mint, guys. Like it's still near mint.
But there's a book out there that's not the case though. Look at Spider-Man 301. There's a huge price difference between 9.6 and 9.8 on that book.
I understand, but they're not. But if you ever read their fine print, and they've always been like this, they're not pricing. They're not basing it on price. They're basing it on the grading scale. And I get what you're saying that people are upset about that, but do understand that a 9.6 near mint and a 9.8 near mint. You know what I mean?
How much do you think that grading that kind of stuff though goes off of like the lore of the book, or because everyone knows 301? It's damn near impossible to get a 9.8 in it. So they hold that book in high regard. So they take extra time grading that book, or they look over that book for any little thing they can to make it to where it's not a 9.8 and it's a 9.6.
Do you think they're prejudiced against certain books like that, or do you think it's just another book? Just like it's a job, it's just another one that they're doing.
That's the trick, man. Until somebody develops some type of software where they can scan it in and it gives you an overall damage, it's always going to have that human error to it. And I think that is where people
take that over.
I
mean,
grading's subjective. That's all I'm going to say about that. Grading is subjective, and if you
it matters greatly. Like if you put a black light on it and it looks like a Jackson Pollock painting, versus whether you don't. Like that can be all the difference.
Yeah.
Well, they don't want to give you graders notes for 9.6s, hoping that you're going to crack it and spend more money with them to get it regraded to try to get that 9.8. Give you that 9.8 the second time around when you paid for it.
I got a bad shipment like 2 months back, and I press all my own books. So now there's a running joke in my show. And hey, if you guys want it, give it to Anthony. He'll press it for you.
Yeah, come back worse.
I swear that every time I had a book press, it's come back. I've had a book, I crack it, I get it pressed, and it always comes back a lower grade every time.
Yep.
So I stopped doing that.
Anytime I put up a 9.6 or a 9.4, the joke typically will pop up and go, "Oh, did you press that one?" Okay, guys.
Yeah, no, I hear that, and I hear people. Look, Anthony knows because he grades a ton, probably too. Like in the end, it comes back to you. It goes back to you. Like it's just one of those things where it goes through. But I do understand the guys that aren't doing. They aren't throwing 1,000 books through, a year. Or they aren't even throwing 100 books through a year. They're throwing 25 books through, and they come back and they thought they had some 9.8s, and whoever they use for a press or whatever is like, oh, this is a diehard 9.8, and it comes back and they get like a 9.6.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm notorious. Oh, I shouldn't tell people this. They're gonna keep this. But I'm notorious for like not counting pages in books.
Yeah,
especially Silver and Gold Age. And every year at certain cons, I notoriously get a green label, and every year I'm like, mother bleeping green label. And it is what it is, though. Like I just keep the book. I have like a bin full of them now. That it's what am I going to do?
Rejects, like you kick dirt and say dirty words too, like you're worthless. Walk past them.
But like at the end of the day, like when you do enough of them, it goes through. Where some of these guys, like, yeah, they think there's some like magic, like we say, the guy that's ticked off or to get. Yeah, right. But I've also had the guy that he must have been in the solo Wookiee club because hey, it's a hell of a drug, man. And there's stuff where I'm like, there's no way this book was anywhere close. The cover's ripped off, the pages are about to fall off, whatever, and they're giving you like a 7, and I'm like, a 7? I'm sorry, sir. 7. You said it. Absolutely, I will sell that tomorrow for a 7. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. There you go. So that all that hookers and cocaine paid off. You just send those the day before your books get there, and then they're like, it's a 7. There's no cover. 7.5.
I'm just gonna start sending my books in with a $40 gift card to a gas station. Says, here you go, get to work on me, bro.
I'm telling you,
get to work on me, bro.
There, dude. You put a 50 in.
Yeah. I think you guys should shoot a video and see how that turns out. I don't think it's going to turn out that well. Flip DB. I will tell you, I've had a different experience with that. That's all I'm going to say.
The FBI's knocking on Matt's door and Kyle's door. Excuse me, are you Matt?
We're investigating claims of bribery.
Did you try and bribe a CGC agent earlier this week? Yeah, we're gonna need you to come with us,
dude. So there was a retailer. I'm not gonna tell you who it was, but he basically was working with one or the other grading company exclusively for his comics for his customers. Mm-hmm. And out of nowhere, he put out this posting, was like, hey guys, I'm just letting everybody know ahead of time we're going to switch over to the other one. Uh-huh. But before we do that and we start sending this, I did get my last order in it. He's showing them off. And dude, there are 9 9s and 10s in there. And somebody made the joke. They're like, damn, that must be the company you're leaving. And they went ahead and upped all your grades on your books before you took off.
Yeah, I mean, like, that was one thing. Like, I know we were talking. One of the look, and if you aren't watching it, watch the headlining show we got here, Tales from the Flipside. It's a great show. And a couple weeks ago, they were talking about what it feels like to get 9 9s or 10s. And I don't know, Anthony, how many you've gotten. I've gotten a handful before too, but it is like it's like a scratch off. I mean, it is like it's a scratch off. You submit enough, eventually they throw you one. It feels like I've done it.
Marco sent us like 1,500 books. Let's throw him a bone.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've had it before where I'm at a show and looked at the book and gone, oh, so I'm one of the 599s they had to give out at this show, like for live, like because there's no way this book was I was thinking I was getting back and it's one of those questionable, the midders, the 9.6, 9.8 ones, and you're like, yeah, cool if I get a 9.8. We went to the show to hopefully get a 9.8, get what they used to call what the heck do they call it? The live bump or whatever they called it, on-site bump. That used to be a thing. I don't know if that's still a thing anymore. But
9.9. Shit, I'm taking a bubble bath and having a Marvel rub tonight.
Marco sends them autographed pictures of him in the bathtub to get that 9.9. That's what it is. Love Ben Roethlisberger of comics.
The funny part is at one of them, if you've done on site before, they don't always send you all your books back at once, right? Like they'll send it in the
right.
So like I hit one and then I hit another one the next day too. And I was like, oh wow, dude. Like they just, what were they? Like came up short, forgot that they had to hand them out and they just started giving to 2 for 1. So like, it's cool to get them, but in the long run, I see that for taking care of some of the 9.6s that were 9.8 dead knots that they didn't give us. So
my son says it perfectly when I got my first 9.9 and we were freaking out. It was super cool experience. And he goes, it's kind of like when you're playing Pokemon and you find a shiny Pokemon in the grass. I was like, it is like that because you never see those things,
right?
Yeah, except for that one time that you did.
Yeah, it's that 1 in a million, and you're like, oh, I feel lucky today.
Yep.
Did you see the signature thing, Anthony? Somebody, do you want to take this, or they want to know if you can press with a signature on it?
Yes, you can. There are different techniques to do it. You want to, for the signature ones, you want to have your heat press already on. I can't stand that people try to do a preheat with the book in because all it's going to do is loosen the ink over time, have it cranked up. And then I use, just to be safe, have it cranked up. Then I use the double sheets on it instead of a lot of people use the thicker backer board and
double
single. What is the,
double
what
sheets,
am I thinking? Yeah.
Sheets.
Yeah, sheets. What am I thinking? What's the fire retardant cloth? I'm blanking on what it's called.
The ShamWow.
Latex? No.
ShamWow.
Anyway, it's the shit you could throw in your oven and it doesn't burn through. Typically, you put comic, board, fire, so it doesn't catch on fire.
Parchment paper is what you're saying.
It's
right?
that.
Yeah, parchment paper. Yeah.
Yes, I never would like my books to catch on fire while you're pressing them.
Yeah,
you got it. So I double that up because I don't care if the heat gets all the way through because typically the book, if it's signed, it's probably more modern anyway. If you're gonna get them verified, so Teflon, there it is. Joe got it.
Yeah, there you go.
Jeez, that was tough, man. Act like I've done this before.
I was brain farting right there with
you. Anyway, dude, that shit that's next to my press. That's what I call it.
Yes.
Press shit.
That stuff. But parchment.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, you can just make sure that, like I said, the heat's turned up. Don't clean it ahead of time. A lot of people take that cleaning putty to it. That's just gonna loosen the ink again. Throw it in hot. If it's a modern book, I wouldn't go longer than 30 minutes. Tinfoil, not that. Dude, don't do tinfoil.
Tinfoil. Please go try that out and see how that works. Please go try that out. Yeah.
You're gonna have a fire on your hands. I'll just tell you that.
It may be.
Did you guys hear about my last show? Not Friday. Did you guys hear about my Wednesday or Monday show? Laura lit our kitchen on fire during the show.
Oh, that's awesome.
She burned something in the oven to where there was literal flame coming out of my oven. And yesterday in the mail, one of my customers sent me a fire extinguisher. No bullshit. the boss came and I'm like, what is this boss?
Who is that? Who is the customer? Because that's just a pit move right there, dude. That's amazing.
His name is Ed. So Ed, if you're watching this, Laura's giving me a dirty look. He sent us an actual fire extinguisher, which was hilarious.
Was she cooking a flambe?
Her whole argument is that it only happened 2 times.
Wait, what?
I'm trying to get Laura. We're starting a petition right now. We're trying to get Laura on that cooking show. Nailed It. Hashtag Laura for Nailed It. Let's start
only
that. That's
2 times.
Hey, it's better than it is better than 3.
You know, can you imagine this? So I'm sitting on camera and I'm like, all right, guys, well, on the board, we got this and that and blah, blah, blah. And I hear the kitchen's on fire. I'm like, what? She's like, real flames. So I throw off my headset and take off running over there. And it was on fire.
Dude, that's amazing. That's awesome.
Oh,
all right. Now you got us all. I don't know what Nailed It is, so I'm like trying to figure this out and looking.
Nailed It's the cooking show where they're not good at cooking, so they do like really awful, like the pastry chefs like make this cake and make it beautiful, and then they turn in garbage, disgusting, unedible pieces of whatever piles of food on a plate, and it's a competition.
Oh, she's not that bad though. Like she's actually pretty decent at cooking, isn't she? Or no?
Laura?
She's not.
No, God no.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that.
Laura's cooked for me 3 times, and we've been married for 14 years. And 2 times, one time went out for burgers, another time we ordered pizza. The third time it wasn't that bad. She got away with one.
She's not gonna cook anymore for you. You know that, right? Like you saying that she's just not. It's
She
done.
doesn't cook now. As soon as I get off, I got to go make dinner.
Oh, dang, that stinks.
But
I
she's
mean,
really, really pretty. That's ideal.
you guys need an air fryer.
She just ordered one.
Those are the greatest things ever fucking invented.
Yes, they are.
Just ordered an air fryer. Swear today.
You should see how it's helped my physique. Not eating all that grease.
You know what's funny is that she ordered the air fryer and she's like, I got us an air fryer. And I'm thinking, oh, she's going to use this thing. And she's like, you can make French fries. You can make potato chips. And I'm like, what is all this stuff? Like, I got it for you.
Trust me. Once she tries it, she'll be like, anybody can cook with one of those. They're great.
Somebody's digging themselves a ditch here tonight. Just a little bit.
Oh wait, there she is. Jeez,
she's right there. Yeah, there you go.
I mean, hell yeah, I'm gonna be cooking.
Hey, just make sure that she doesn't turn that Hulk 181 into the angry wife variant, dude, because that'll be a trip.
I kind of get a feeling Laura
that, didn't it?
Laura's looking at you with that tone of voice.
I don't blame her, dude. Dinner's Hot Pockets tonight. Jeez, the chat is just going
burn the Hot Pocket.
The chat's got it. Oh, God. Keep it up. Yeah, she's telling you keep it up. Oh, okay, we got to get him out. Listen, we got to get him out of this.
Let's move it on. Another shot and on to the next talk.
Yeah, let's get him on to the next one before.
Tell us, can you hear a little bit about your Infinity frames?
Yeah, so that's what we got all behind us. And try and grab one safely without knocking everything over.
They were all Laura's idea, right? The ingenious Infinity frames was all Laura's idea, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
she is a genius.
Good recovery.
So yeah, they're just acrylic clear frames. Drop your book in, you top load, slide out, nice and easy. And then if you guys notice, this is just a thumbtack. They hold up really easy. They're lightweight, and everybody's like, "How much time did that wall take you to put up?" I literally like eyeballed it and like poked a hole with the pen, and this whole thing was done eyeballed, and it's even as hell. They self-center. They're pretty cool things.
That's really.
And then there's just one in the middle
and self-level.
Yeah, so they've got a
notch in the back.
Yeah, they got a notch.
Look at that.
That's pretty badass.
That's so dope.
It's super simple. Yeah, and this came from, I said when I ship things, I ship the way I want them received.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of a way to display my slabs, and what they had on the market I didn't care for. So I made one of these out of wood. And then I just happened to run into somebody that was able to like get them produced for me. So I gave him the one that I made, and he's like,
so you sell those?
Acrylic. And so we normally do, but right now with everything that's going on.
Your favorite podcast that you're on right now.
Dude, you guys want some? I got a garage full of these things. But the production is being held right now just because we were shipping them obviously from overseas, and it's a pain and not cost effective. And I don't like to overcharge for anything. Like everything I put out in the world, it should be fair. So kind of waiting for that to pick back up.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, those are cool. Where do people actually find those when everything's not being held back because of the big scary? Where can they get a hold of that? Is that straight from Bird City?
BirdCityComics.com. Check it out. I put a lot of work into that, so typically it's broken half the time. I don't have a background in web design, so I typically go on and have a good time trying to make it pretty, and then you'll notice that things will be like not centered and offset, and that's just me messing something up. I eventually fix it, so it's a lot of fun. But yeah, birdcitycomics.com is where you can check it out. The Facebook page, we put a lot of our info and news and shit that's happening. I have a fan page, we call them the Peeps, and they get usually first dibs out of stuff if I get. Yeah, you see what I did there? But like when I get new inventory, I throw it there first, and they all get first dibs at it before it goes on the site or I advertise it to the world, and so it's a pretty cool spot to hang.
Nice.
Those are badass.
We have we got a pretty cool community. I'm gonna find my phone. So we have a one of my regulars. He is battling cancer. They were talking about him on Drunken Chat and stuff like that. He had a thing, but I was talking to Greg Horn about it, and Horn sent me a comic for him. Let me turn down the brightness, and he drew the color of the ribbon. See it, kinda.
Oh yeah.
Oh. Anyway, you can see the ribbon. So he drew the orange ribbon on it. He signed it and sent it back for me. I just mentioned it to him, and we gave that to him. Just
JJ Maxwell has a question in the chat. He wants to know if a slabbed book in a Mylar bag will still fit in one of your frames.
A slabbed book in a Mylar bag. Oh yeah. Sorry, I was thinking like the book is in the Mylar bag and then they threw it in the slab, but that was completely dyslexic. Okay, good. It was
because they make the new Mylars that are big enough to put the slab in now.
Mm-hmm. Well, I had to make this one with a big enough because it'll do the thicker. I don't want to call it like the trade style, but the little thicker square bounds.
Yeah.
And plus CGC and CBCS have different size frames. So
yeah. Do you have a bunch of different size frames?
So I made this one, or it's compatible with both. The only thing it won't fit is magazines.
Yeah, because like those original early TMNTs are a bit wider.
Yeah. So they put it in a thicker. It'll be in the same size case, left to right, but what it is it gets a thicker top because the book's thicker, obviously. So I had to make this where it'll support a larger slot.
Okay, I see. I see. Yep.
And so you got some wiggle room on it.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
They don't scratch the CGC cases up being inside of it, and like
you've got
around a little bit, or because of that extra room they don't.
No, because
so
it's got
I have this open face frame, and it's barely just over 1/8 of an inch that it touches the case. So the corners where it rounds out is the only part where it actually connects. So even if that gets scuffed up, that rounded corner is not clear anyway, so you never notice it.
I like big slots.
Yeah, you do.
Oh, Jesus. All right. That was fair enough. Those are cool, man. They really are. Do you know is there UV protected to some of those? Like I know that's one of the biggest concerns about people that's with a certain case, because if you remember years ago, one of the companies had a big problem with their cases. Like a big problem with their cases.
So the acrylic that we use is coated with a UV filter on it. This first batch that we ordered in bulk is open faced, so there's no UV protection on the front. And I did it that way on purpose just to see if people were going to be receptive, because that's an additional cost.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to have it be too high on market when I'm rolling out a new product and somebody being like, "Oh, I'm not going to pay X amount of dollars for that. It's new. We don't know you. We don't know if it's cool or not." So I did them as cost effective as I could out of the gate and just made people aware it's open face. There's no UV filter aside from the acrylic, and it protects the sides. And it was really receptive. So this next go around, once we get production fired up again, we're going to have an insert that you can slide in. It'll be a UV protected, like acrylic insert to cover the front. So then it'll be good all the way around.
I like that. Yeah, because that makes sense. Because then you could actually have it in the front, and it'll take up some of that extra room in there. And no, that's a great idea.
You got it.
Yeah, because now most of them graded already have a UV protectant in the case already from CGC and from CBCS.
You can kind of see it. Ever guys see the bubble? Looks like a part of the case is pressed too tight to the book, and it looks like a bubble in there. And you hold it up, and you get all those rainbow reflected back. So that's the coating for the. You got it. Yeah. So yeah, they protect them. I mean, you're talking years of direct sunlight to get a lot of damage depending on the book. So I'm like, this Hulk 181 is just me being.
Unless you live in shitty Arizona where it's 110 every day.
Me being a dick and on my
Are you going to do the magazine size ones? Is that something you might be? I know people are asking for that.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I got two that I'm trying to make it. They're the exact size. I just changed the dimensions. So because I want them all uniformed.
Yeah.
So the CD kicking in again. I don't want a bigger frame next to a smaller. I want all the frames the exact size, different fittings.
Cool.
Which it's harder than it sounds to not make them look stupid because they looked pretty dumb when I made them the first time. But we're working it out.
Cool. Yeah, I definitely got to do something. Magazines are becoming more and more popular too, and like some of those are just like they're super cool and super easy to get. So I definitely think it'd be something cool.
You're absolutely right, Marco. I mean, those nut jobs, those Star Wars collector nut jobs with all those Star Wars insiders and all that. I mean, those guys are Jesus. Well, those guys just give it a rest already.
So
I just had a Star Wars person say, "Can you start getting me all the insiders?" And I'm like, "Oh, geez, those are not going to ship well. Let me order a different guy's block." Like I almost blocked him.
Yeah, I would have. His name was probably Solo Wookie. I guess.
Yeah, that's probably who he was.
I was going to put on my Google Translate and start responding back in Spanish and being like, "Oh, see, hey."
So that's a tough one. So because they change their cases so frequently at both companies, there have been some that have known to have issues, and there are other ones that were a little bit better at like encapsulating it. There were some complaints about what were those? What were they called? They called it the rainbow.
The Newton rings.
Thank you. That's what I call. There's complaints about that, but that was because of how they were sealing them to make sure that the mold and stuff wouldn't spread. I don't know, man. I'm not going to tell you for sure that that's not going to happen. I've heard stories before. I do know some of their cases. Some cases have been better at it than other ones. Let's just put it that way. Anyways, I had no one's cool.
Well, you don't want to leave them in the sunlight no matter what.
Marco doesn't want to get into
it. Is.
I know I get it. No, I mean I just don't like. Listen, everybody's got an opinion on some of that stuff, and I use the company that I prefer, right? And I don't want to bash the other company. That's how it is. I don't want people bashing me for how I do stuff, and I don't want to bash like anybody else. It is what it is. You could just have a difference of opinion. Did I have a problem with it? I haven't had a problem, and I do a lot of silver and gold. I haven't had a problem with. I had a problem with one, and everybody would know what company it was. They fixed the problem. They remedied the problem, and they would reholster the book for what was happening to it, which was warping the books. Besides that, I haven't had a problem with either company. Both of them have worked out pretty well for me on both sides. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Well, I mean, here's the bottom line out of all that. If you go and get a book graded, I don't care what company you go to, and then you put it in the sunlight, you are the idiot. That's not on. It doesn't matter what company you went to. It doesn't matter how many bags and boards and Mylars and everything you put it in. Don't leave it in the sunlight.
Yeah, but
don't leave your books in the sunlight.
But I think he was asking about deterioration through like air and through mold, spores, and stuff like that. Like, I have never seen a case where a book that didn't already have mold on it and hadn't been treated continued to grow. I have seen it happen before. Physically in somebody's house. I haven't seen it happen before in a case after they have tombed, slabbed, whatever you want to call it, a book.
That's called weather. We don't have that again in Arizona, so good.
Like
out here,
just 100
moisture
every day.
Yeah, right? We don't get a lot of moisture. So
I saw somebody who left a book that had mold on it in a pile of books, and it had formed into the Swamp Thing. Like the books had formed into the Swamp Thing.
They get fuzzy.
Yeah, so he had like stacked it up and forgot about it. Then we were, you know how it goes with inventory. Sometimes you over inventory, then you finally get to it, pull it down. And we felt it was a Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing was sitting on the desk, and it wasn't the comic; it was comics that were Swamp Thing.
Should have scraped out the mold into a number one and been like, "Hey, it's Swamp Thing number one. This is $89.95."
I don't think you understand. The title is not Swamp Thing.
I know,
but
it doesn't mean that you can't sell it as a Swamp Thing. Just write a number one and Swamp Thing across the top in the mold, and be like, "Look, this is the real deal, folks."
Dude, throw some epoxy over it and like harden it, and being like, "In here is a Hulk 181. You'll never get it out." Hard at this point. You need this for your end table. It's a beautiful talking.
This
piece.
is years ago. But yeah, now I think you'd have to. I think you would just scrape it off with a knife. Who cares what it looks like? Just scrape it. Or it could be like the girlfriend variant, right? Like people pay extra for weird stuff.
Absolutely.
You could have taken a picture of it and scraped it off, showed it in a video. Next thing you know, it's a one of a kind, and people want to collect it.
Dude, there's bought the first. Well, it wasn't first appearance. It was the Batman. Was it Batman '98? The one that they call Punchline's first appearance. I know they say Hella Risen 3 and but the Batman version or whatever they want to call it. But he took the book, and this was on Facebook, and he shot holes all in it, and then sent it in for grading. And they graded it with bullet holes in it, and he sold that thing for like a couple bucks.
Yeah. People will buy weird stuff, man. That's funny molting. And yes, if you could get it, it's still not active unless you get the moisture back in there.
I think the girlfriend variant's the coolest thing in comics. Like, I think there should be a law that you have to sell that every 2 years. Every 2 years, somebody else gets a chance to buy that boy.
Yeah, that guy was the guy who that happened to. Couldn't have been a nicer guy. Couldn't have been a nicer. But shout out to Nico and Low Grade Comics. Just real quickly for people that don't know that story. All right, cool. Thanks all. About the mole thing. I'm just reading the mole thing, and we've got listen, JJ Maxwell is a man of great knowledge and wealth, and he explained this a lot more eloquently than I did, which is great, dude. So it's good to see good fans doing it. Now we're talking about penicillin. That's
I own a comic shop.
I just got shut the comments off because
Uh-oh.
My daughter just came in and said my 12-year-old or 13-year-old just came in and she said, I found a casting call website for Nailed It. I just signed.
Wait, what?
Dude, that is awesome. If you
Anthony, you broke up there. That what you just said did come out appropriate. I think he was talking about the cooking show Nailed, and that there's a casting call for that, and he signed up.
Her mom up. She signed Laura up for it.
She signed Laura up to be
just
on
to
Nailed
clarify,
It.
that was an internet breakdown. That wasn't what he was saying. Jesus. All right, hey, Anthony, you can stay around. I think. What are we moving to, man? We got to get off of this because
That's great.
That's our slow City Comics. We'll get you on the tangent.
Yeah, right. I think you have to watch the replay of where it paused you in the frames, though. It's really funny.
Funny.
It sounded like you said. I'm not going to repeat it.
Yeah, it'll be on a T-shirt. I got it. Whatever it was, I'll throw it on my T-shirt. Yeah, we'll have it made.
T-shirt is
Nailed it.
Somebody told me for a long time. Nailed it. I had one. I used to put Board City because it would autocorrect when I typed too fast. So it was like Board City Comics, and people used to say, "Dude, that should be your T-shirt slogan."
Great.
Hey, speaking of that too, because we're talking about her so much, we might as well promote her show because it's a great show. Jen, a good friend of ours, is on that. You guys she's on it too, is also a good friend. Our last one, who I love because not only that, but she does. I love the crazy. I know I shouldn't call her crazy, but the stuff she does on her own channel is Lucy, where she does the paranoia. Like, she's legit about it, dude.
Oh,
if you like the paranoia stuff, she gets stories.
Paranormal, not
whatever.
idiot, but he doesn't want to get into it.
Dude, she told me, she's like, your haha cover, I love it. And I'm like, yeah. She's like, my mom said it's beautiful. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Like they dig that stuff. And I'm like, because I think it's beautiful.
Yeah. No, they're a whole different level of cool. Like, they're on something. Like, if you ever hear the stories between her and like her mom was letting her watch like It at the age of 2 and was laughing like
horror movies and everything. Like, I could totally hang out with her mom, and her mom sounds great. Like, let's watch some horror movies. All right, I'm down. That sounds awesome.
Oh, dude, my mom told her, been like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
You okay? I'm like, whoa, bro. Mom, it's just a comic book. It's pit number 1. No big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so make sure you're checking them out too. They're on Tuesday nights, 9:00 on the channel. He's following me around, just dropping stuff in the background. I love it. Hey, why
it typed in there? He just doesn't hit enter and wait for you to go.
Your shirt.
Yeah. I did get a nice message from somebody.
Paranoia of the
This is what we're gonna do. All right, we're good. My mom.
Solo.
Hey, you got it.
I don't think my girlfriend's gonna appreciate that.
Hey, when
It's not real.
speaking of that, when are you guys getting Lucy on this show, dude? She needs to come on this. You know she's
Open
fun.
invite whenever anybody
not
wants to
come
come
on.
on.
Absolutely, always.
What? Don't let me read the chat, guys. Stop looking at me. I'm reading the chat. I'm watching you make fun of me.
Okay, hey, everybody in the chat, let's take a minute and let's let Marco catch up. Please stop writing.
You know, start doing pictures, please. I only read.
They're gonna
pictures.
flood. They're gonna flood the comments now.
Dude, still best comment I think I had from last week on the Instagrams was somebody who sent me. Hey, I know you're probably busy searching for DC
We are
books
really busy.
in your Dockers, but do you got a time to answer this one question? I was like, I'm not a 9-year-old at a private school anymore. I don't wear Dockers, bro. And he's like,
You said you ruined your Dockers on the truck digging for
I don't wear Dockers. It's not Dockers.
It's off the rack at Nordstrom.
Yeah, off the regular pants. They're like those little, I don't wear jeans. It's like the denim mixed blend thing. Oh, jeez. I do like the intention. I absolutely like the intention. 100%. Yes. No, I think it's funny, man. I like what you guys say. Some of you are creative. Whatever.
He's
All
talking
right.
about you, Solo, that you're not.
Yeah, well, I'm okay with that. I'm gonna send him a pair of capri pants anyway.
Some
Are those
skinny
like
jeans.
the?
Probably kill
Yeah.
some skinny jeans.
Yeah, like they're short. Like all the really cool
The European
cholo
pants.
guys wear.
European pants.
They're like short. But
No,
they're
we're
like
all spending them Dockers.
long shorts, but not like full pant.
I don't wear fucking. I don't wear. No, neither one of those I wear.
Like Sandy from Greece.
Yeah.
It's not Gucci either. Listen, I don't wear any of that. That's not. Do I need to go next show? I will give you guys. If that's what. See, everybody wants a fashion show. This is what you all want. You want a fashion show? I'll give you a fashion.
Hey, I'm also sending bath bombs with them. Okay, Marco.
Yeah.
So
I'll take that, dude. I like.
Marco's like the Lego movie right now. Marco, you're like the Lego movie.
There
Just
you
turn around and
have
go,
the
where are my
backflies.
pants? Show us.
Oh, all
Are
right.
you guys done with me?
We are.
You can do whatever you
You're,
want.
you're
Go
welcome
ahead.
to stay and help.
I gotta
us
go
to wear
do
those
damage
Pants
control.
zip
Or-
off at the knees so he can take his lower halves off when he's got to dig.
What?
He doesn't have to roll his pants up when he walks along.
Yeah, he just zips them off.
Zip them off. Absolutely.
Their tearaways.
Yeah. All right, Anthony. Thank you very much, man. We really appreciate everything.
You're welcome to go cook or hang out and make fun.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta go do some damage control. I'll probably be limping tomorrow, so we'll see.
Yeah, enjoy the couch tonight, Anthony.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Laura. And thank you, Laura, for everything you do. That's funny.
Guys,
All
peace.
right. We'll see you, man.
Later, dude.
Thanks, Anthony. Man,
Hey.
I might be calling Cox up and being like, "Look, you owe me for making me sleep on the couch tonight for my internet freezing at the wrong moment."
right. Oh, that's funny. Anthony's does. Yeah, go check out Bird City.
Their stores their shows are real fun to watch. It's really lively. You can
Check
tell
them out on
everyone's
Facebook.
having a great time, man.
Yeah, dude. It's fun, man, dude. It's great. Future State, High Republic. Yep, we'll get into both of them. Which one are we doing first? What are we doing first? I forgot. I've already had too much to drink.
Me too.
Well, we can talk. If people want to talk about Star Wars, we can talk
Yeah,
a
we
little
can go
about
to Star Wars. We know everybody really came here to
Let's
give Marco a bunch of attention.
No,
talk
let's
about
let's do Future State first.
Future
So that I
State.
can take a break.
hold
I
on.
need to go get a drink.
Talk about the rumor of Robert
Oh, yeah.
Downey Jr. possibly being cast as Thrawn in season 3 of Mandalorian.
Yeah. So the art that was done for that looks horrible. Straight up, looks terrible. Number two, the original site that it generated from is
Yes, grain of salt.
Tomorrow. No.
Big grain of salt.
which yes, which the original site that broke the news must have it covered or something like that because they seem to have a lot of.
I thought they were like the Onion.
Yeah, I did too. I always thought they were like the Onion too,
Parody fake thing.
but I think there's a lot more people into Star Wars and stuff now too, so they might not quite know that site is they put out interesting things. Let's just put it that way. I didn't know it was a tabloid, but like looking at it, I actually kind of hope it's not him. Like when you really think of it, I hope they do something like Spider-Man where they went out and got just a different actor, somebody that we all don't know that well. What's that?
No name actors. That's where they make it.
Yeah. I really do think that's it, especially with something like that, because you're gonna have, obviously you're not gonna.
Mad at you, Patrick. Just as we were thinking of making you a moderator, you cheat on us.
It's all right. But I want somebody with a longer face, somebody that fits the character, kind of a combination of the newer version of it, either the Matina cover that you saw or the stuff that you see. I know it's hard to do, but like something that's on the dust jacket a little bit more than the old school.
The longer face, like the dude who plays Superman.
Oh yeah, maybe like him. Make him it. I don't know.
What's his name?
Cavalier, whatever his name.
Clark Kent.
Stalkers.
He wears stalkers. He does.
Caviar.
Oh yeah. See, this is JJ saying it too. I'm glad somebody else said it. It's like
I don't know that there's. I've seen very little. I don't know. I just don't see a lot of people out there going, "Yay, that's a great casting call." Like it. I mean, Robert Downey is a good actor, and I like him as an actor. He is Tony Stark. I mean, that's his model. I don't see him as Thrawn. I don't see him pulling it off. I think he's a great actor. I think he knocked Iron Man out of the park. I don't see Thrawn in him. I think it's a bad choice.
That's cool. I'm glad Matt brought it up because like the chat is agreeing with it. Like I thought we'd have some people out there like, no, it's gonna be great. You don't know what you're talking, which they always tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. So I'm glad.
I mean, have you seen Tropic Thunder? He can definitely play a dude who looks like a dude playing another dude. So I think he's gonna be good if it's true.
It's not. No,
I don't think it's true. But
first off, like just how Thrawn's mannerisms are, I'm not sure that's in the. And I like Robert, and not what he just did in Iron Man, but like some of his other movies, even when he's all doped up, he definitely had some good movies. But
yeah, I mean, you can go all the way back to you can go back to Weird Science when he first started getting his chops. You can look at when he played the.
I said he's best when he had a bra on his head.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, look at when he was all cracked out and drunk and having a hard time when he was playing that Natural Born Killers reporter. I mean, he did great in that role, even with all the problems that he was having. He's a good actor. I just don't see the Thrawn character in his. Yeah, he was great at Sherlock Holmes.
Chad, I agree with that, and I think that's where I expected this to go. Is a lot of people say, well, what about Sherlock Holmes? And Sherlock Holmes, it was a different type, right? Like the analytic thinker that Thrawn is compared to like the problem solver that Sherlock Holmes is, and then they add the action portion into it. Like Thrawn really keeps a lot to his vest a lot of the times, and I think if you get that like deadpan. Hey, all right. I think when you get the deadpan, it's I think you get that it would be a little bit better of a character. Where I'm not sure Robert Downey Jr. whatever. I can't call him Robert. I guess I have to say his full name. Should we call him the second, junior, third, whatever?
I call him Rob.
Good. I think when you see Robert,
him and Kyle are on first name basis.
Yeah. He calls me Kylo, and I call him Rob.
RDJ.
But yeah, I mean, I think we could just. I think that's bad. Look, I think it was a bad source it came out of. I think that's an interesting way. Like if people want to learn how to track down good sources and bad sources, go find the source and then see what else they wrote.
When it comes to we got this covered, I typically check 3 or 4 more sources before running with anything they say that are a little bit more credible. And they do get a little bit of credibility every now and then. But
yeah, I mean, and that's like, but the thing with them now, I mean, the thing with some of these sites that are starting rumors, they'll roll it out under other lesser pages and they own the pages and then they'll verify it through them to the, it's like the back and forth.
Like
game.
what we do.
Yeah, like we do. Yeah, absolutely. Like what we do. Or whatever you say, I verify on the Star Wars show and then we come back over here and double verify what I said over there.
Perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
That Simpsons.
What we're talking about right now, just go from the Dark Side show. They'll
yeah.
That Simpsons episode, JJ, is hilarious.
JJ, let's do that too. We get some good comments coming in.
About like a John Hamm type.
Yeah, I saw that too. I think it's really, let's body shame John Hamm now, but like I think the face structure is almost there. It needs a little bit more chiseling into it, but you can make that work with all the CGI stuff they have. Yeah, I know. Why are we laughing? Why am I talking about face chiseling at this point? You guys are gonna cut that, aren't you? You guys are gonna make that.
It's Thrawn.
No, you're right. We are going to cut it. It is going to be a clip.
Thrawn is one of those faces that you're gonna have to get in the wheelhouse of the face to sell that character. I mean, there could be some prosthetic, but if you add too much prosthetic, you're gonna jack it all up.
Dude,
So
put that back up there. Put that back up. I'm sorry, Solo Loogie. Breaking news. Breaking news.
He's even got his kids coming in here to tell us how bad that cooking is.
Oh, and I love it. She's the greatest. And this is just, I'm sorry. Hey, it wasn't me. I shouldn't have done breaking news, but we're getting live updates at this point. Oh boy.
I think they're gonna have to have
you gotta watch
the right look and the right chops for Thrawn. It's a big character. You're gonna have to go big. You're gonna have to do some serious casting. You're gonna have to nail that one to get it right.
No, we just said 5 minutes ago you go with no name actor.
Yeah, I think you go no name actor. I 100% disagree with. It's okay if that's the way you want to go. That's cool. But I think you already look. They are going to have Ahsoka coming in. We know who's playing that, right? So you're already going to name actor, actress, actor. They're all technically supposed to be called actor coming in, right? So you get one there, and then who knows what you're going to do with Ezra or what you're going to do with Sabine. But you can always, if you need one more big name, you could always put a big name in one of those two, and then have the next two be no namers and pull it through. Plus,
Zac Efron do it.
Plus you have
Zac Efron is Ezra.
He's a singer, right? From the boy band. Is that who we're talking about now? We're gonna bring boy band dudes in this. With Justin Timberlake.
Was that a boy band?
Isn't?
No,
Whatever.
Tim.
I'm Team Zac Efron for Ezra, dude.
I don't know who Zac Efron is, dude. Whatever, dude.
I've never heard that.
All right. Either way, that's great dead air we got going on there. But you use two main people. You bring in two that you can no name.
We need to go back to that.
Who is Zac Efron?
What band do you think Zac Efron's in?
The one with the brothers, right? Like not the Umbop brothers, but the something I don't follow.
Jonas Brothers?
You think Zac
Burn it up with the Jonas Brothers?
Sounds about right.
What is that?
Not those fucking Oombop guys.
Yeah, that sounds
Jonas
about
Bros,
right.
the J Bros.
Jonas, what is this kid's name again that you just mentioned? Zac Efron's Jonas
Zac
Brothers.
Efron.
That sounds all about the same thing right there. Look,
God.
look, I don't get Teen Bopper magazine and post people's pictures on my walls. That's not what I do, bro. I put up comic books and cool crap like Rambo. All right.
That guy Deezy wants to know how big will the Thrawn conflict be?
Huge.
I think it'll be big. I think it'll be cool. Like
Huge.
huge.
There's a lot of storyline there.
Well, it depends on which one they go with, right? Like if they go with he's just the gray hero. Either way, it's gonna be big. You know, if he does saving the one thing I think they're gonna keep in there from both Air and the new version is he's the answer to save the entire Star Wars universe. You do know that, right? Like even when he was the bad guy, the Hand, he still saved the universe. That was like his goal was to save the universe one way or another. So I think that's the one part. Even if you use the old Air version or you use the new Ascendant version, like it's going to be big. It's going to be the end scene at what was that Endgame where they have everybody come out and roll through and everything like that. I think that's really where they're going to start going into it.
Yeah. Well, and they have that possibility with a character like Thrawn because he ties in so many different avenues of story.
So we're throwing out all these names, dude. This is so Allison Cooper. Yeah, okay, know who that is. Keith Richards. Actually, know who that is too. Read his book.
His book.
It's like this big too. Yeah. It's messed up.
I only know him from his book.
Yeah.
I don't know all the incredible hit music that he's played.
But I've read his book, man.
Read his book. It's a funny book. Yeah, it's great. To the sequel, what is he? What is that guy asking?
Thrawn novels connect
to the sequel trilogy.
No, but they left yet. No.
He's got to take a drink.
I do have to take a drink. No, but it does. he left things that you could switch over. So some of it's very similar, how he changed it around. The timeline's a little different, but there are certain elements which you can bring back. I think we have a video that's going to drop this week called The Hand or something like that. It might explain a little bit more of that and how they can do certain things and implement it in. Does the book have pictures? Not the Keith Richards book. It is very long. No, it does. It has him on the front cover, but besides that, no, it doesn't. I know. I only read picture books. I get it. Jeez. Okay, so what's next after
you tonight, bro?
Yeah, they're killing me. When you said the most hated, it must be like the most made fun of. But I love it, dude. Keep it up. It's going good. Chat's doing good. What do we have next? So let's go with Future State, so I can get out and use the facility.
Well, I want to wait for Kyle to come back for Future State, but let's talk a little TMNT. I know Solo can't talk. Solo Wookie is a TMT guy. TMNT.
I like turtles.
So with issue 115 of TMNT, we're finally going to get the showdown of Tokka and Rahzar versus Bebop and Rocksteady. How big is this going to be for Turtle fans? And is this? Do you think this issue will even be spec worthy and be one to look after or look out for?
I think it is for your big fans. I think for your turtle fans that really enjoy all the stories and do the mass collecting and they're completionists. I think our level is going to really enjoy it and really get into it. I don't think that the average collector or the hot top 10 is really going to hit on it. I don't think it's a big enough story for them to care about. And I could be totally wrong. It could. Now watch next week. It'll be, book number 1 in the top 10 or whatever. It'll release and everyone's dropping, $80 for cover A. Turtles is hard because the completionists really love all of it, period. We love it, and we're always looking for those mashups. We're always looking for some of the old with some of the new and vice versa, and some of those conflicts. But there's so many turtle fans that are a different level of fan. Like they grew up with the cartoons and the toys and they're very familiar with it because of the the movie, the cartoon, the toys, but they're not looking for the comic book storyline and the carryover, and they're not congruent or current or even really care all that much with the ongoing storyline other than The Last Ronin. That was really the last book that anybody that was that cartoon fan or that action figure fan, they kind of dove into that Ronin because it was promoted well. I don't think that this conflict and this fight is going to be promoted anything like The Last Ronin was. I just don't think it's got the legs. But I could be wrong.
I mean, I hope there's even a fight. I hope we just don't get duped where they're promoting it as a fight and then you don't even get that. Much like the death of Donatello. They pushed it as the death of Donatello. Everybody went crazy for that issue for about a week until you saw the preview for the next issue where he's coming back. And it's just like, all right, what are you going to do? But
yeah, and we've seen that before where you're exactly, 10,000 times % right. They've done that to us before where, we've had oh, look, Donatello's going to die. Oh, by the way, in the next book, he comes right back. And everyone was very much in like, wow, this is a game changer. This is the, and I, to placate on that, I do think that also hurt Jenica. When Jenica was coming out and going to be released and was being talked about, I think a lot of the readers and a lot of the collectors kind of felt like, well, there's a new turtle, and are they doing us another Downey where in 5 issues she's going to be dead, or you know what I mean? Like, I think that a lot of her stuff still doesn't hit because so many people felt soured from the whole Downey incident, even though there was a huge time gap in between there. Other than then hey, spoiler alert, other than Master Splinter being killed, that whole series, and that was a long time ago, that was really the last major giant event. And I mean, we got Lita, we got Jenica, we got some of those minor things, and those are bigger storylines than this battle. So I just don't see this one having a lot of legs, which makes me a little bit sad because I think it's a great battle. I'd love to see it, and I hope it's an all out brawl.
You know, I have to go back to something you said. I think that the that issue where Splinter dies doesn't get enough respect because I think that's the best death in comics. I've never seen a more fitting end in a comic book than they did for Splinter.
Well, and they didn't do the Superman where they brought in 5 others, and they didn't do the, oh well, he's not really dead. And no, you're right. It's definitely an under-respected book. I agree.
So let me ask you guys something. Has Tokka and Rahzar appeared in any comics before this?
No.
Not even in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Adventures stuff? No,
so they were in 2 movie adaptations of the comic, but not in continuity. This is their first time in the IDW continuity that they're showing up, which I believe was the last issue. It was 113 or 14 where they showed up at the end. But this is the first time you're getting the face off everybody wanted of Bebop and Rocksteady. Because when you go Turtles,
now wait a minute. You and I had talked about was that 101? They almost have a small. I guess it's not definitive. Damn, now I can't remember which book you and I were talking about, Matt. It was like 101 or 102, and they're kind of in the cages in the backdrop, and it could have been them.
So I want to say it's 113 or 14. I'd have to go back and check if Clay wants to check real quick. At the very end of it, they're talking about getting a wolf and snapping turtle and mutating them.
Maybe it is.
That's kind of the talk of it. And I asked you, hey, do you think Tokka and Rahzar are coming? And you're like, I don't know, maybe. And is this? And it was it shows them at the end. It's like, this is their first appearance, and you weren't sure. And I looked it up, and I know it is. Like in the movie adaptation of the comics, they were there, but this is their first appearance in continuity, and it's definitely their first face-off with Bebop and Rocksteady.
Yeah.
So you got Turtles fans, Bebop and Rocksteady, or Tokka and Rahzar. They're on both sides. It's the first time they're gonna go face to face, and it's exciting for me because really, Last Ronin, what's going on with that book? Like that spec.
Hold on real quick here. So here's something that is interesting. So it looks like they did appear in the movie adaptations of the comic. Mm-hmm. Is that right? So
yep.
Mm-hmm. And then they did appear in IDW. So let's see here. It's probably the newest one, I imagine, right?
Issue 1.
I think that's the one
that I was talking about.
Yeah. Is this what is this? 111. Yep. In IDW continuity, Tokka is a mutant snapping turtle first appearing in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 111.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's for Tokka. So he first appears in continuity of the IDW series in 111, but he's also first appearance in comic.
Good eye on you with that one, Matt. I mean, you called that months ago.
His first appearance in comics is, what is this? This looks like the movie. Where am I not seeing it? Archie Comics. First appearance, The Secret of the Ooze. There you go. So there's Tokka and Rahzar's first appearance in comics. But not like Matt said, in the IDW series, it's 111. So very cool. Yeah, there you go. Gonzo called it out. Archie Comics. So that's cool. I love finding out this stuff like definitively, so we can go now. We can key in on these if these are books, characters that, like you were talking about, Solo Wookiee, like where people grew up with them and love the toys. Now they can go find, the first appearance in continuity, the first appearance in comics period.
Well, and
give them all the options.
These comics here are the ones that most of those collectors, these are the ones that those guys buy. These are the ones that they look for because they're very familiar on that front. They're not reading the IDWs. They're not reading. They're not staying with that continuity. They're the ones that grew up with and it resonates with them. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm not saying, good or bad or right or wrong in any way, shape, or form. Please don't misconstrue that. I'm saying that this is just predominantly what I see in those collectors is that they're very familiar with that story because it relates to the movies and the cartoons and the action figures. So those are the ones that they actually, are picking up and reading and looking at when they do get books. They're not reading the IDWs and the, early stuff.
So it looks like Rahzar first appeared in the movie adaptation like we were talking about. So this is probably Secret of the Ooze. Yep, same thing, Secret of the Ooze. So you get Tokka and Rahzar's first appearance in Secret of the Ooze, the movie adaptation. And then what is this? This is Amazing Adventures as Chris Bradford. Amazing Adventures. I wonder what this is. This is first appearance Zodiac Part 2. This is from IDW. Well, this is interesting. In Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Amazing Adventures, Chris Bradford, formerly known as Dog Pound and now also known as Rahzar, is a former human and twice mutated mutant. He is a ninja in the service of the Foot Clan. So, have you ever heard of this, Matt? Or
No, because I don't think they've ever even said that Tokka and Rahzar were mutated from people. They were just mutated from their source animals.
So this is the Zodiac story arc. It's a 2-part story that printed in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Amazing Adventures issues 1 and 2. Wow. Okay, so let's see here. So this is what you're looking for. This is IDW Amazing Adventures 1, but it's not. I don't think this is where Rahzar. Let's see which one Rahzar showed up. Yeah, Zodiac Part 2. So I think Zodiac Part 2 is the first appearance of this version of Rahzar. But like you were saying, Matt,
let me understand that correctly. That's the first run of IDW in Turtles, is it not?
No, I don't think so. Was it? Then was the IDW animated series the first Turtles IDW stuff?
Oh, that could be. I know that one was early on, and you don't see them very often. I only have a couple, and I don't think I have one or two.
That's later because that's the
Nickelodeon stuff. Yeah.
Nickelodeon stuff.
Yeah. This was after. Yeah, this was when they started adapting the Nickelodeon.
Yeah, so this is 2015. Sorry, you guys, that's 2015. Okay. So the other IDW stuff that is quote unquote continuity, is that that's what you guys have called this right now, comics continuity. He appeared in 111 also. So in the IDW continuity, Rahzar is a mutant gray wolf, first appearing in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 111. So both Tokka and Rahzar first appear in 111. So 111. So it looks like the book to get is 111 of the current IDW series and Secrets of the Ooze 1 of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventure series. Those are the 2 books you want for both characters.
Isn't there 3? Is there only 3? 2 or 3 covers for 111 too?
Very cool, man. I love stuff like that. Are they on any of the covers?
And stuff. It's from
they have not been on the covers yet. No.
Okay.
So
very cool. Here's what 111. Here's 111 cover A. So this is one you're looking for, which is a cool kind of cover. Anyways, I like those baby turtles like that look like that.
I want to say 115 is going to be the cover that you sent when we were talking about Last Ronin, where it's got Jenica or other little turtle that I can't. The albino turtle, her name escapes me right now.
Lita.
Yeah, that she's holding that time staff. It looks like it's from Turtles 3. I think that's the cover for 115.
Here's Turtles issue 111, and here are the covers. So 111 retailer incentive. That's pretty dope. 111 another retailer exclusive. I'm not sure which retailer. This is the 111 cover A. This is 111 cover B.
Ooh, that's cool.
That would have been cool if that was Tokka and Rahzar on that cover, right?
Yeah.
That is the Frankie's one, I believe, or the 616 one of the two. So those are the covers, guys. Like, I don't know. I think if I was going to get one, I would get this cover, just because it's Kevin Eastman. I'm not a fan of Kevin Eastman, I would get that one. That one's pretty dope.
I picked up that one too.
Go to that next one. Go to the next RI.
Is there 2 RIs?
No, just one RI. This is another
RI.
retailer exclusive. I'm not sure what company that is, or what shop that is, but pretty cool stuff. Here's their first appearance. Here you go.
Yeah. Right now, I'm specking on anything Turtles that's big, because with the news that Seth Rogen is going to be taking part in a Turtles adaptation movie, everything he seems to touch right now is gold. So you can't go wrong with anything Turtles right now, especially if they added Last Ronin. But I don't know, the buzz on that seems to be simmering now that issue 2 keeps being delayed.
One of the things that I'm noticing more and more about comics every day is that people are becoming more drawn to these type of series like that. They just have such a pull towards, whether that's like, what they grew up with or anything like that. They have a pull towards it, and they become niche collectors, whether it's Turtles, G.I. Joe, Star Wars. Like, a lot of collectors are going back to these things, and they're wanting to. I don't know if we're creating more completists, which a lot of new collectors, that's what happens when you get into something new. You slowly get into it, and then you want to be a completist in something, right? So I don't know. I've always said in the past that I feel like Turtles is going to crash next week, but I've been saying that for almost a year now, and it hasn't happened.
Yeah, no, I'm there with you. I'm surprised that Turtles hasn't had more of an upsweep in the last 3 years. I really thought that it would have a lot bigger impact and just like Matt was saying earlier, I really thought that in the last 3 years we'd see the death of Splinter start to spike up, and some of those books like that. I'm really surprised that it hasn't, but we have seen, oddly, it's almost like the opposite of Star Wars, where we're not seeing giant upsweeps in Star Wars #1, but I mean, we're seeing giant upsweeps in the first, 5, 6 TMNT books, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and first prints, and second prints and third prints. I mean, they're all going up by the thousands, not by the hundreds, but I mean, almost overnight, they're going up by the thousands. So we're not seeing any of that end stuff go up, or any of that middle content, where we're seeing all the middle content and the newer stuff in Star Wars just make a killing.
Well, yeah, but I think with TMNT, it's not as hard, right? Like, you have the main characters that everybody knows about. Their minor characters are very minor, and a lot of times they're just flash in the pans when they're written in the comic books. Like, look at the Archie Adventure stuff, right? Like
That's a good point.
Rocksteady and stuff like that. Like, people know those characters, and that's why that stuff shoots up. So it doesn't matter what version it comes through. Where, like, I mean, it's a universe versus a little group that come out of a sewer in a city. You know what I mean? It's not as vast, so people aren't grasping as much. But I think part of the thing is, and why you don't see the loss in Turtles, or in any of them, you're not going to, is people are now being able to see cool stuff. It's a lot easier. It's kind of like what Anthony was talking earlier, right? Now they're online, and people have to put out content. And when you see content, people are putting up stuff that they find cool, or what other people, when he's like, I just reached out to my fans and said, what do you guys want me to sell you? Give me a list. I'm going to do my regular thing, and then we're going to add your stuff on. And I think that's how Turtles is working. Obviously, I think that's how Star Wars is working. And it's something that people are like, they don't care. They don't. People, that's where the 9/8 crowd comes in too. They just want. They're going to go out there and buy it real quickly. And if it looks cool, if it sounds cool, they're going to buy it. And Turtles is kind of the same way. I think Turtles has they're a little bit more niche-y, and there's a fan base there too that's very strong, even through some, which I would consider terrible writing, through some of the TMNT stuff. It was real stale, therefore. Power Rangers is another one, man. I mean, if you're not, I was digging with Jen the other day, and she's picking up all those original Power Ranger books. Those are great picks, dude. I mean, for $1 and stuff, like they're great. And it just so happens now that you're seeing them show up on Instagram accounts. It's a joke that they use on the first show, on the keynote show here, Tales from the Flipside. But it's like, make sure you hold the book up so that you can get a picture of it. And they're right. People like that type of stuff. They like to see cool things and go, cool, I can go and grab it. TMNT, you have to be a little bit more in tune to it for some of their finer points, right? They don't have 1,000 of the covers where the you can see the Sith Lord on the first cover, right? You're going to have to go and get the Archie comics for some of their stuff. And also too, I mean, realistically, you got the Casey Jones, you got the original, you're going through the 4. I was actually surprised at how much the gain was on TMNT 1. And then the third print, I thought you would have seen a huge, and it's a big spike, don't get me wrong, but I thought you would have seen an equally huge spike in the 3. And I think percentage-wise, it didn't pull up as much as I think it should have. I'm not saying it's a cheap book. I'm not saying that if you got the third print and you didn't do well on it. I'm not saying any of that. I just thought the percentages would have been a little bit higher. I think that's kind of what you're saying, Solo. Is like, man, their first print is just booming, and their third print's doing good. Don't get it wrong, but like, you're right. I think there would have been a little bit of spike. And same thing with the Archie book, like the price variant, the newsstand, great, but like the regular cover, I thought you would have seen a bigger boom in the regular cover, especially in the higher grades. And it's an interesting market for them. It really is. That's all.
The market today is, if there's one thing that I know, it's that I don't know jack shit about comics and what's going to sell tomorrow for $10,000. If you ask me today what's going to sell tomorrow for $10,000, I can't tell you, because it every day the market is so crazy. It's amazing. Spider-Man 55. That book is, I mean, that's your next, the way it's going now, that's your next ASM 300. That book is it starting to drop finally, Brian? You're shaking your head.
You just called a book that is about to milk the fucking comic community dry just by flipping 2 colors the next ASM 300.
I'm telling you, dude.
Wait, what did he replay what he just said?
The way that book is starting to sell and go hype and go crazy. I mean, that 15 years down the road, is that the next ASM 300? I mean, that's
is there a first appearance in that book?
What book is he talking about? Please repeat. I was reading
Spider-Man 55.
New ASM 55.
The black and white webbing silhouette cover, and now the second print, they're changing the white to red.
Well, not only that, there's some other company that's doing just switching the white and black, which is so lame. So lame. I don't know who the company's doing it, so I'm not saying that company's lame, but that is just, it seems so simple, and it seems like they didn't put any effort into it. The red one is cool. I like that one.
It's dope.
Throw some color into it. Like we already have black, and I don't know. I think
they should have done the black, the webs in red, and then the spider in the middle should have been blue. Get your Spider-Man colors in there and call it a day.
Some cool neon colors in there too.
How many homages of 300 do we have? Is ASM 55 the next? That's what I'm saying. Is that the next 300? How many times can they redo this book with 100 different colors and homage it over and over? And I mean, now you're going to start seeing a bunch of books that come out that have an idea similar to that, and it's going to be homaged over and over. And this is, I mean, 15
if you
years
want to say it's
road,
going to be torrent, if you want to say it's torrent, okay, I can see torrent, but no, not 300. I think you're just over exaggerating on that. Like, the significance of 300 is way different. It just really is. And
well, granted, there's no
waiting on the gold webbing variant
there.
The gold webbing variant. Yeah, so if you want torrent, if you want to compare it to the Spider-Man torrent book, okay, maybe you're onto something. I would say, but I think it's a little bit different. I think that would be it too, and not now you're waiting for because I remember buying those torrent books not too long ago for $10 a spot, probably 4 years ago, and just stacks of them. So.
I don't think it's going to be 300 has too much going for it. You have the artist, the cover is iconic, and it's got an iconic character in the interiors. Spider-Man 55, it's just a cool cover. There's no significance in the interiors. It's nothing.
Yeah. I mean, you could the 298, whatever, 299. I get that, but 300 has a lot of significance to it.
Sure. So you're saying 15 down, and this is I'm posing the question just because of we're talking about the market and I'm trying to use it as a comparison, so to speak. So, I mean, you look at when 300 or any of those came out in that time, 299 to 301, and I mean, they escalated quickly. Now, granted, a lot of that had to do with the cover artists and with you know, the interior and Venom and everything. But do we see 15 years down the road, is this book all of a sudden $120 book? I mean, that's what I'm saying is the market right now. It's so hard to it's. I mean,
if people find that
cool.
cool.
Still going big, the 55 is going huge. 15 years down the road, is 55 a $300 book?
I know we were joking about it earlier, but what's Dark Hawk selling for? The joke of the book that was Dark Hawk is now selling for whatever it is. So I see what you're saying with that, but I think that I think the books that are going to stand up are going to have a little bit of significance to them, right? Like a little bit more than just a cool cover. But who knows? Maybe you're right. Maybe, 20 years down the line, it's even worse and nobody cares about content. Maybe they don't care about the content anymore. Because heck, you're getting most of these slabbed anyways. People are reading them online. Who cares what's inside it? You know what I mean?
I think that's a good point right there. 55 will be good as the ASM 36 911 issue cover wise.
Yeah.
Do you really think that too? That 36 has the 911 behind it.
Yeah.
It's the first cover that did that all black cover. Listen, don't get me wrong. I like 55. It's a gorgeous cover, but it doesn't hold that much significance at all. There's no significance to that issue at all, other than the cover.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I think though we can't, I think sometimes we can't take into consideration what's going to actually happen because we're from the old way of doing things where we knew the Wednesday Warrior, what you do. And that's not the Wednesday Warrior isn't even the Wednesday Warrior that it was a year ago. It's really crazy. It definitely is the Wednesday Warrior for 5 years ago. And now that's it. I don't know if content is king anymore.
Let's you're talking about Wednesday Warrior and content and all that stuff. Let's get into a little bit about, we're constantly picking on DC, and DC finally rolled out a bunch of their Future State stuff. Let's get into some of the Future State stuff, because I know, Kyle, you were reading Future State. You were actually trying to dig deep into it, and you got pretty far with some books. What have you thought so far?
It wasn't what I was expecting at all.
Could you say that with a little less enthusiasm?
He's trying. I know he's trying because we talked about it, dude.
Dude, you sounded like you're holding back.
Yeah, you give me shit at the top of the show about not having enthusiasm when I introduce you, and then you're sort of like,
it wasn't what I was expecting. You sounded like you were gonna like the tears. You were holding them back.
Well, I Future State, 50 years in the future. I was expecting something different. It wasn't what they gave us at all. Not even close. Because, Matt read them too. It's like the next Batman. I had to read it twice. It's the art wasn't for me. I'm going to be nice about it.
I saw some of those pictures and
I was posting pictures and it just, if you go back 7 issues of Flash, the art was spectacular, right? During, Joshua Williamson's run, the art was great. It was fantastic. And then you went to the next issue with this new team that was doing it, and you were just like, ugh. And then with Future State, it's like, okay, we laid everybody off. Who can we get to draw these? And I think that's kind of what happened was they were like, shit, we let everybody go. Now we need to pick up whoever we can. And you're looking at it and it's just like, I don't know. And I don't, and it might be somebody else's art style. So I don't want to say it's I'm not going to say it's bad or anything. It's not what I'm looking for. But
do we have any interior pages that we can show here? Oh, Jesus.
And that's that drawing, that kind of art is the entire book.
No.
Where's that Joker pic? Do we have that Joker pic that you?
No, I don't have that.
Oh
Joker
my God,
pic.
I was. Oh.
And I as you're reading these books, the premise is kind of cool. It's anybody with a mask. This special team is like it's shoot on kill. It's anybody wears a mask. It's it, man. You're done. It crosses over. It crossed over into Wonder Woman. It's Batman, and
yeah. So like a new like almost government agency or police force in the Magistry has come into the storyline, and they're kind of like they control everything, and they've made it to where people in costumes are outlawed, masks are outlawed. If you're wearing a mask, you're shot on sight, and that theme runs through all of these books. But you put out that
you're going through this book, man, and you're just, I don't know, like for so what, like the art, like that was one thing that we've talked about for a long time in comics is the art has been just badass lately. We've had these badass artists and these, and then we get the Bane Litos, and you're just like,
what is this? Please try to explain this. What is this?
So the gang, the bad things in this book, they're called the Bane Litos, and that's you get a fucking Lucha Libre fucking mask if you join the club, if they jump you in, and it's just like, and you're just, when you turn the page and you're just like, that's what it is. I don't know. Future, I expected something
not to
different.
go in the past, but something into the future. Yeah.
It just seems like they went, I don't know, in the bat, like if I had to put them on a list. So the only one I didn't read is Superman, because I just don't read Superman. I'm just sorry, guys, if you're a Superman fan. Swamp Thing was the best one out of the bunch.
Okay.
Harley Quinn was the second best.
Yep.
Flash was number 3. No, Wonder Woman was number 3. Flash was number 4. Batman was number 5. That's how I ranked all the Future State that I read. And sometimes, if there's good writing, the art, you can get through the art. Because you're engrossed in the story.
Yeah,
you can
sure.
think. But this, like, I read this Batman one twice, and it was worse the second time.
Do we have any of the Wonder Woman art? Because people are saying, could we show some of that?
The Wonder Woman art wasn't bad.
Yeah, I didn't pull the Wonder Woman art. I didn't have time to pull the Wonder Woman art.
I asked you. You said no.
No, I didn't.
Bus just ran over Matt.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Fucking...
Hey, what do you want to get from Wonder Woman? Oh no, we're good. Okay, cool.
Hey, I asked you to send me pictures, but you took a nap instead. So
it gets late. Hey, the AH cover though, I saw the AH cover. They did the 86 in that. I will tell you this. So everybody that knows me knows that
I didn't think the Adam Hughes cover was bad though.
No, this is what I'm going to tell you. So I sit around comic book stores on days just to see what's hot. I know it's corny, but I also like to talk to people still with everything that's going on. And like the Adam Hughes cover for Wonder Woman sold out faster than the variants for Star Wars did. All the variants. I'm not just talking about High Republic. I'm also talking about Star Wars 10 too. It was actually the first thing to sell out was the Wonder Woman AH cover. So like, I don't know if it was just because the art was great. I don't know what it was about it. Yeah, Brian's pulling it up now, I think. So maybe we can show it to you. Yeah, but that was it. That thing sold out faster than probably the hottest title that was out there, which was the High Republic. By far the hottest title in the comic book store. And this is what the buzz was about. This and the other one that sold out really quickly too, not quite as fast as High Republic, was the Spawn, the crossover. The Spawn.
That Jenny Frisson cover is pretty good. So,
but
it is. But the AH sold. Look, I can only tell you what sold in the comic book stores I was in, and the AH was gone. It was hot. It was gone.
I like it. What did and like J. Scott
I like the
Campbell,
color.
I think, had a cover, but I for what I don't know. I just expected Future State to be different. I expected Future. I guess with Future in the title, 50 years in the future, I just expected it. I don't know. Maybe it's cheesy of me, but I expected it to be like more Batman Beyond-ish. It's in the future.
Yeah.
But this is like, I don't know, man. I don't know if they hit the mark or they're trying, and I get it. Hey, you're trying something different. But
wasn't the Batman book like also a $9 book?
Well, there was you had Batman, you had the Outsiders, you had a few stories in it.
Mm-hmm.
It was a thicker, longer book.
Huh.
But I just, and I was like, unfortunately Corbin got me hyped for it. I was like, you know what? I'm going into Future State with this positive attitude, and for the most part, all I read is DC. I don't read a lot of Marvel books, so a new DC thing was kind of interesting to me. And Swamp Thing was good, and I think what made Swamp Thing interesting is, if Matt comes back, I think he read it too, is it was just kind of like it you could tell it was the future. It was a different time, and like with Swamp Thing, it was Swamp Thing and was looking for humans, and they because it's a whole different environment. Everyone's gone. Everything's like snowed in and destroyed. And like, they're trying to find humans, and like they actually run into a human, and the human is actually trying to find him. And it's like, and it's kind of cool because it's showing him like evolve. It's showing Swamp Thing evolve.
And it's the only book that spawned out of Death Metal, because they're saying Death Metal is going to lead into Future State, and really Swamp Thing's the only book that I've seen so far that did that. And like that's the other thing is that Wonder Woman Death Metal cover is selling like gangbusters too. The black one with the 2 Wonder Women on it.
Like, so I don't even understand why Future State went into a second print. I don't, honestly, and this is just my opinion, I don't think it deserves a second print. I don't see a lot of people going to buy the second print of these first books. Like, I understand a lot of people, myself included, bought them for the fact of giving it a chance, but there isn't anything second print worthy to me. Like,
I always find DC to be an interesting market because, believe it or not, like in the secondary market years later, like after a while, there's always like run diggers for DC. It doesn't seem like anybody ever like they didn't like Darkest Night when it first came out. They didn't like Rebirth when it first came out. They didn't like, any of it. And then all of a sudden,
I loved Rebirth when it came out. I was one of those people where you can go back to the old Absolute Geek shows. Matt and I we had to sit and eat crow on Rebirth.
We got invited to a panel where they were showing off Rebirth as press, and we were sitting there trashing it the entire time, and it came out and we had to eat crow. Like it was not tasty.
And then Wonder Woman was like, it wasn't, the art was a little better in it, I would have to say. Like, if I had to rate the art, the way they are drawing Swamp Thing, and as Swamp Thing is the evolution of Swamp Thing as he's, creating his lungs and everything, like I liked all that, but like I don't know if they're trying a different art style, like how all art evolves, but I just think comic books should be this badass, kick-ass, detailed, nice, badass art. And to have this art that's like, I don't know, like phoned in, I should say. And it's not bad. It's just not for me. I'm sure there's some people out there that love it. I'll give them that. You know what I mean? Like I thought the best part of the Wonder Woman story is when they were, and they're right. Whoever said that, it's like they were waiting in line at the airport when they were at the death line. I thought the funniest part is when she stole somebody else's money to pay the death due to get off.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, and these are issue ones. Sometimes, how it goes. It's a rough intro into it, and then once it gets going, but it's only 2 months.
Well, I think the problem with Future State is they came out and they're like, okay, these books are only going to be 2 issues, but that's changing. So like the Batman, you're getting 4 issues of the Batman, and you're getting 2 issues of some of these other books. Like Dark Detective, you're getting 4 issues. Superman is getting 3 issues. And a lot of them are getting just 2. But to answer JJ Maxwell's question, yes, Swamp Thing is getting a relaunch coming out of Future State. Which is, and I mean, this if you can pick up that first Swamp Thing, it's worth it because there's a ton of first appearances in it. You're getting the first appearance of Swamp Thing Supreme. You're getting Wilson and the Undying Man. You're getting Obsidian Sun. There's all kinds of first appearances in this future state Swamp Thing #1. I honestly think, much like coming out of X-Men, how Marauders was the shining book out of Hickman's X-Men stuff. I think the Harley Quinn book is going to be the shining star of a future state.
I really liked the Harley Quinn story. Like, it was the only one that I enjoyed. Like, but I enjoy Scarecrow, even him without, you know what I mean, just him as Crane. Like, I liked the concept. I liked where they were going with that first issue. Was Harley Quinn's, she's locked up. She's fucked. She's in a shitty predicament right now. Crane's coming in and being like, hey, you know what? You help me, I help you. She's helping him because the Magistrate has changed him, and he's, you know, he's not like a villain. What he's doing is she's helping him help, like, the police catch all the criminals. Because she knows Gotham. She knows the ins and outs of everything. So her little insights are helping them flush these, you know, like flush the criminals out and flush people out and bring them out. And I think that's kind of a cool. I think it was a cool angle that they used.
Well, I like seeing her switching, her thought process switching, because you see her thought process switch from her Harley Quinn way of thinking to Dr. Quinzel way of thinking, her educated way of thinking versus her criminally insane way of thinking. Like
the criminal, but he knows. And then, you're right. Because she goes to, like, well, since he's, you know, OCD and this, and then, you know, this is how we can get him to come out. So it is cool. Like, this, I found that story to be one of the most easiest to, like, and best to, like, be engulfed into.
Yeah, because I mean, just reading it through and the way she, like, conducts herself, and, like, they're trying to get Firefly because he's lighting stuff on fire, and Crane's like, well, how would you capture him? And she's like, easy. They just rebuilt the orphanage that he was at. He burnt it down once. He's gonna want to burn it down again because it's a spite to him. So he shows back up there and they catch him. You know, so she's basically they're setting her up to be a one-person Suicide Squad, and now Crane's big thing is he's been tasked to get Black Mask, and he hasn't done it yet. So now that he sees Harley can do it, he's going to send her after Black Mask. So it's pretty interesting the way they're handling this book, and I think this book got me interested in Harley Quinn again, because I'm one of those people that's like, I'm done with Harley Quinn. I'm burnt out. I'm over Harley Quinn. I'm over the hype.
I 100% agreed. Like, I'm like, Harley Quinn #2 is a book that I'm gonna get. Like, I want to. That is, out of all of them, that is one I do want to keep reading. Like, I'm not really in, like, after issue 1, I'm not even super into issue 2 of Batman.
No,
I'm cool if I read it, and I'm cool if I don't. Like, I'm impartially, like, it does, but, like, Harley Quinn, I was like, yeah, like, even, like, Flash, I'm like, I'll get it because, you know, I'll read it. It's cool.
Yes,
but even Flash, it was, I found it kind of, I don't know what would be the best word, cheesy.
Yeah, and I think Flash, everyone will forget about Tim Fox in 2 months.
Yes. And I think it's the way they're writing them. They're writing that book. They're not writing it in a way that's drawing you in like you want comics to draw you in.
They don't give you a reason to care about him as Batman. Like, there's no reason for you to even care that he's being Batman. It's just like Bruce Wayne, the Majesty came in, and Bruce Wayne was like, "Oh, well, I'm out," and he took over the mantle. Like that, you don't even know. I'm sure you're gonna get 4 issues, but my gripe with it is $8.99. You get maybe 7 pages of actual the future best state, the next Batman. You get maybe 8-9 pages of the Batman story, and then it's 2 other stories included into it. So it's like an annual or an event, or, you know, it's like an annual, and they're gonna release 4 of them. If all 4 of them are like that at $8.99, I'm not. No, thank you. Like,
No, yes, there wasn't enough in that issue 1 to draw me in. Like Harley Quinn, I was like, you know what? I do want to read issue 2. Swamp Thing, I was like, okay, I'm going to check out issue 2. Batman, I was like I just said earlier, I can go with or without reading it. And you know what? I read Batman. Batman's been a staple of mine, and that kind of bums me out. Which the only thing cool about it is, okay, in a few weeks I can go back to my normal life of reading Batman.
But I think with Future State, they've hyped themselves up already, because they've already hyped up Yara Floor, and now they're going to hype up Teen Titans, which comes out next week. So I think that's all the hype you're going to get. Like, Swamp Thing was a surprise. Harley Quinn was a surprise, but I think that's all the hype you're going to get out of Future State is just people specking on those books and those characters. And there's just not a lot here. Like it honestly felt like, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Kyle, it honestly felt like it is a ploy that they're drowning, and they were like, well, they had this big idea with the 5G, and everyone was like, 5G is stupid. And they were like, well, we'll just turn it into Future State, and they're still drowning. So now they're just throwing shit at the proverbial wall and then seeing if it sticks.
It's unfortunate because I was kind of saying that earlier. Everybody's always complained whenever they've been in, people can say what they want, but whenever they've had their transitional phase, like, would you guys, that's where I was going with it. Would you rather have had 5G at this point? Would you rather have had 5G than what they're doing?
I'm glad that Swamp Thing is good. I think I'm happy with that. I'm happy that that Harley is good, because Harley needs to be good. She's a big character, and she's a big reason a lot of people are fans of DC. So that book needs to be good. That character needs to be in some type of something good. So those two things I'm ecstatic about. I don't think I just hope that those, like, they do look at the good things that are happening and they keep those things rolling, and then they just find something new. So
I don't know. I actually have to. I disagree with what Blue Green says over here. I think a lot of those books too, like the characters that came out of them, then went on to have good reader runs. Okay, they came out and became something. What's Clown Killer doing nowadays? Is that thing something in DC anymore?
Yeah, it's still in DC. He's still in DC.
Is it popular?
His popularity right now is being driven by the fact that people think he's going to be Red X. That's what's driving his popularity right now.
How's the Lobo girl doing? The daughter. I mean, look.
Nothing. Like.
Okay.
I mean, overall.
No, Blue Green. I'm sorry. Blue Green. I'm saying that the characters that spawned out of them. Yes, those are 2-issue runs. The characters that spawned out of them. So
here's where Blue Green is incorrect. Some of them are 2-issue runs. Swamp Thing is spawning. Its new series is spawning out of this. Future State events are still going to carry over into the mainstay books, they've said. And so there are some relaunches that are spawning out of these. So you can't look at them like they're 2-issue runs. They're not ongoing series, because they're going to have effects moving forward. So there's stuff in them moving forward that, I mean, I think the Yara Flor hype is because she's already been announced for a TV show or something, hasn't she? There's been announcements about that where she's coming to that kind of stuff, and
they extend her over. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you can't. I think they have big plans. They want to have big plans for this stuff moving forward, but it's just whether or not it's gonna.
But listen, if you're relaunching all these titles, and from what I've heard, you got one Swamp Thing, solid, really solid. You got your second pick to Harley Quinn, and some people's second print was the Wonder Woman. So you're getting 3 books out of it. That's not bad, man. I mean, that's to redo that and to have 3 decent books out of it, and then let's see what happens next week. But if Teen Titans comes through, then 2. Now you got 4 out of 6, because it'll be next week 6 or 8. You're 50% on it. It's hard to relaunch, man. It's not easy, and not everybody does that well. So
nobody does it well.
Yeah,
because they never stick with it.
Yeah, I understand, but it's not as bad as oh crud. It's not doom and gloom. It's actually I see it a little bit positive. There's some positive things coming out here. Sure, there's some characters that are coming out here, a lot of them, so you can choose what you like. Apparently, there's a couple good storylines. Not a fan of some of that art, but hey.
Yeah, but the thing, especially with something where people are already on the 50-50 with DC. I think every time you come out with something like Future State, I think your issue 1 should be like out of the gate. I think they should do something to engulf us as a reader. And I don't think Future State is doing that so far.
Well, I think DC fans have been smacked in the face too many times. So they've already been abused so much that they're like, oh, we can't take any L's. We need all W's. We're like, hey, being a Marvel guy, I can tell you right now, new, we took a lot of L's too. You know what I mean? And even the L's that weren't there, whenever you would go in there and go like, this isn't really an L. This is actually pretty good. People are like, Marvel new now? Like, no, that's an L just off the bat. Didn't matter what came out. Well, guess what? Some of those L's are definitely turning into a lot of money nowadays. So, just let's see what it looks like in a couple of years from now. Let's see what it looks like in 5 years. Because then all of a sudden you might have your 1 point, or you might have your Kamala, whatever. I even still like that the Nova stuff that they brought in, and then when they got Reed Richards into it was good. I was picking that up regularly. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens with it. It's not, look, when I hear 50%, I'm more intrigued to buy DC stuff, and that seems like a positive outlook to me than if it was like, wow, all the artwork was the same as the first one, and then the storyline wasn't too good. Especially with how scaled back they are. I mean, maybe I'm a little sunshinier, but I'm also not vested that huge in new DC stuff. So.
But I think the scale down, I think we're seeing the ripple effect of this scale down. I think we've seen it in Future State.
Yeah, that might be true. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, though. I'm not trashing it. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
For this first, maybe they should have just put maybe their A teams on it. And I get giving people another chance.
Right, invite to raid. Hit it right here. If there are 3 hits of Future State, then DC's being talked about in a positive light. Lord knows they need it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And Blue Green, good. I'm glad you said that, because that's what I was kind of hinting at too. Like, I get what you're saying. You want all positivity, but we have to be honest with it too, right? Like, there is some L's, but if we can get some positivity out of it, hey, we'll give it to you, and it's not too big of a deal. I just think Kyle going into it, like, we thought Kyle was going to come on today and be like, guys, we got some hits. And honestly, this is a lot chipper than what his original review of was it. So,
I sat, since I read them the other day, I've sat trying to figure out a good way to. No, I'm not gonna say how garbage. I'm not gonna say that. Like, I'm definitely like Harley Quinn surprised me. Like, that wasn't even on my thought process of being something that I would read issue 2. So for me, that's a W for me. And Swamp Thing. Same thing with Swamp Thing. I didn't have any expectation of Swamp Thing. I didn't even care about it. And the only reason I read it is because Matt said it's worth reading. Okay, I'm gonna give it a try. And I'm glad I did now.
Hey, you don't ever have to apologize for wrestling. Nah, we're good. We like it. I like NWA too. Yeah, I still watch some of the old clips.
So I just like the way Harley Quinn opens up. It opens up with her fighting guys, and she's talking about how, she's got these nicknames, and she's like, perhaps you prefer to call me Dr. Harley Quinzel. How about Cupid of Crime, or the Maiden of Mischief, or Daddy's Little Monster? And she says, see, you tried to trademark that one, and that was unsuccessful for you. So she even takes shots at the movies, and like, it was a surprising. That's definitely what I'm going to keep going on. Batman, I just don't. I wanted to go into Future State thinking there's going to be good stuff coming out of it, and I agree. I'm pleasantly surprised. Swamp Thing surprised me. Wonder Woman surprised me. Harley Quinn definitely surprised me. But it's just your mainstay in Batman. There's no longevity investment in that for me, because you're invested in either Bruce or Terry, and it's like, do you where does this fall in? What's the story? What's with the Bane Lidos? It's like, come on, man.
But I agree with Joe too. Is I am happy that I didn't have to buy a crap load of tie-ins for these books.
Yes,
that is a great thing, because that is one thing that drives me bonkers about the few Marvel titles that I do read. Is I do have to buy a shitload of books, and it gets hard.
Yeah.
I don't have enough money to buy 185 books.
Right. Even as a Marvel fan, that's really tough. Especially when they still promised us that they were going to cut down the yearly events, and then that hasn't quite happened. So, but no, that's good. So it's good to hear. At least I'm taking it as a positive. I'm taking it that there's a positive. I know as DC fans, some of the stuff might seem a little rough to you guys, but to hear that that there's a couple ones that look like they're going to produce something, especially titles like that. Look, the Swamp Thing show, even though it got canceled, was good, man. I think there's going to be lots of Swamp Thing fans coming up. You know what I mean? The same thing with some of their other stuff that they've done. I know Doom Patrol gets raped. For some reason, I think Laura from Bird City and me are having the same problem with HBO Max. Whenever I want to try to play something that everybody recommends, it just shuts off automatically, which whatever. Anyways, but yeah, so that look, I'm not.
But hey, this was just the first week. I mean, we've got a couple more weeks of titles to read. Next week can be different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm hoping, as a Teen Titans fan, I'm hoping that I get to come on here and go, fuck yeah, Teen Titans. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I hoped with Batman, though.
Oh, they're giving wrestling references now. I love it. I love it, dude. It's great. No, yeah, I hope so too. Look, if they could pull out, hopefully there's a surprise next week. Hopefully, because what books are coming out next week? Do we know offhand? We got Teen Titans, which everybody's looking forward to.
Yeah, Teen Titans. I believe Dark Detective comes out next week as well. There's a hand I can pull it up here, and
if Detective comes out, let me ask you this, Kyle. If Detective comes out and it's pretty good, the art style is the one you like, and you're comfortable with that, are you happier with the selection now?
You know what? If like my mains is Batman, Detective, Flash, Teen Titans, and so far Flash, it didn't hit me where I wanted it to. Batman didn't hit, but if I can get to 50%, I'd be cool.
So next week,
totally.
You're looking at Future State Dark Detective #1, Future State Green Lantern #1, Justice League #1, Kara Zor-El Superwoman #1, Robin Eternal #1, Superman Wonder Woman #1, and Teen Titans #1.
So there's quite a few. I mean, I'm going to read most of them, and I hope Robin and Teen Titans are good, and Detective. You know what? If those 3 titles are decent, then it'll be a win for me.
If Teen Titans bombs, man, mutiny.
Always.
But
done it before.
I don't know. I'm like Kyle said, stay positive about it. It's only the first week, but out of all the books, 3 hits. I'll take that. I'll take that as a win.
I didn't get 3 hits.
That's a W. 3 hits.
I guess so. Yeah, you could say that's.
Well, I mean, look, you're number 3. Other people put it their number 2. So, like, if you get that, I'll call that a win all day long. And I think it's more. I think some of those people in the comments actually read the books. It wasn't just because they were specking on a character, because they were commenting on what was going on inside. So that's always a win for me. It's not just what people, it's not just first appearances. Will this have longevity?
It's what's on the inside.
Although I love this Wonder Woman variant cover because I think she looks thick.
Just have the reason. She does. That is the reason. That was what we were talking about earlier. That's cool. That Alex cover rocks. Cool. All right. Hey, what do we got? HBO Max is HBO Max working good for you? Has anybody else had this problem?
I've never had a problem with HBO
I've only had a problem trying to watch Wonder Woman 84. That's it.
I've had it cut out during a couple of shows and pause and tell me that it couldn't play it.
Out of the city internet.
Well, that could be a little bit of it, but mostly it's just from HBO Max because everything else is streaming.
Everything else seems to work fine. Yeah.
But I think a big part of it is because they're so inundated and overloaded with so many people watching so much stuff. They have more, in my opinion, let me state that, they have more content than any other channel right now. More variable content, more shows that I watch, more, how many, right now I'm going to tell you right off the top. My favorite movie is The Little Mermaid. I love it. Guess what? I've seen it 10 million times. I'm watching stuff on HBO Max. I'm not watching The Little Mermaid over and over and over again on Disney Plus. That's just not happening. I'm watching Doom Patrol. I'm going back and watching Stargirl. I'm going back and, finishing it because I was one of the few that got on DC Universe and started checking that stuff out. I'm trying to finish all that other stuff. And a lot of their new content's just really cool and really fun, and it's not the same Disney Plus stuff. I mean,
Look, I'll just tell you this.
I'm not down in Disney Plus. I love me some Disney Plus.
You don't want to get on that list.
I like a little bit more on HBO Max.
I'm just saying, I got through that novel in like less than 24 hours because I was supposed to be watching stuff on HBO Max,
and I had a lot of pictures.
Well, not the novel. The novel has 0 pictures in it, bro. Like in the beginning, it does, but the rest doesn't. I know, I get it. I like picture books and I like turtles. I get it, but yeah, no. I just never. For some reason, I've had trouble with it. I got to see Wonder Woman. I saw your guys' review on it. I thought you're a little harsh, but Wookie, you give everything a 3, so I take it with a grain of salt.
And I prefer Snarf Blast over Dingle Hoppers.
What did you give a bad rating to? So
Wonder Woman, he was like, he was going on his usual tangents.
I may give Wonder Woman a 2 if you keep talking about it.
Whatever. I thought it was.
I didn't think Wonder Woman was great.
I thought it was good. I thought it was okay. Yeah, man.
Hey, Snyder cut, right? Snyder cut.
I do love my pictures. Every time you say that, you know Gonzo's just gonna inundate me with picture book comments.
You also hate Luke Skywalker, so
all right, we should get into what everybody came here for, and it's the most hated man in Star Wars, talking about Star Wars.
Well, hold on. I want to know if anybody bought all the variant covers for crossover number 3.
I didn't.
I'm just hoping to get the Spawn cover with the Walking Dead in it. That's all
I want. Spawn cover.
I got the Walking Dead cover. That's the only one I wanted.
Ship the freaking sugar, I got that. Bro.
No, Matt told me to get that one, so I picked up a couple of copies of it.
Yeah. Send it over, Matt.
You got to go to the comic book store and get your own stuff every once in a while.
Right. I tried to go to my comic book store twice this week and I got denied.
Oh, that's.
I didn't. And I guess I just don't pay attention to the hours.
You know, we had
Birds on Mondays and
over there and ordered early. So
I did try and go to the comic book store for quite a few of those and hire.
I just want to throw out there that as a weekly reader, there were other books that came out this week that were better than High Republic. So I know everyone wants to talk about that, but check out Return of the Valkyries from the King of Black tie-ins, crossover, Thor 11, like Venom 32. There was some good stuff that came out.
No. It was a huge week. It was that. Look, we say it was for Star Wars, but in general, all across the board. But it was in comics. Period. It was a big week, which we're not going to have. Was it 2 weeks from now? Because
I read like 15 books this week, and I haven't done that in years. So,
don't worry about it. You should save some because the FOC for 2 weeks or 3 weeks from now is very light. So good luck with that.
Yeah, you know who ranted and raved about the loving that High Republic was Darth Lopez all over Instagram.
I heard he loved it so much.
He loves it. He's
it's his ultimate favorite book.
Yeah, it is.
Funny time.
Absolute number one favorite.
Loved it.
There is nothing above that book.
He loves that book.
It's his favorite. You heard it here first, folks.
I just got 6 chapters in before. What was his serious question? Oh, how was the novel? Oh, it was great, dude. Unbelievable. The novel was, in my opinion, way better than the comic. Okay, do you guys? Hey, put in the chat. Do you guys want to hear about the novel? You want to hear about the novel? I'll spoil it. I'll spoil some stuff. If you guys do, we'll go into Star Wars, but put it in there and I'll spoil that. I mean, I was gonna get into how distribution works and everything else, but I'll spoil that novel. I was gonna do a review and I still will, but it was good. It was very good. They introduce a lot more characters than the book does. Some of the characters, the big bads in there are.
He's gonna talk the novel, Brian. Earmuffs.
Ooh, the big bads are bad. Oh, the big bads are bad, and it's amazingly bad. They're real cool. I don't want to do that because then people are being like, "Oh man, you said they were really bad," and they're bad. They're cool. I like them. They did team ups. They split it up, so the novel is a lot like Game of Thrones. Is the only way I can explain it. How you follow different groups, chapter to chapter. There was 2 groups besides the bad guy group, which saw 3 groups that I just kept chomping at the bit to get back to see how their story arcs were going. Somebody commented on the video, the review of the comic. Somebody commented, Anthony likes YouTubes or something, I think is his name. Either way, he was saying that, originally how the scale was supposed to come, the 2 novels that came out, because even the kiddie novel is good too, or they don't call them kiddie novels. The little junior novels, junior readers or whatever, that one was good too. It's a completely separate story. But
That's your favorite section in the library.
Bro, it is, but bro, come on.
That's where all the picture books are.
Hey,
Come on, Roethlisberger of comics. Let's
there's
go.
still a ton in there. But no, like originally how the plan was supposed to be laid out. Let's understand this. Originally how the plan for High Republic was supposed to stay out was like the novel Light of whatever, the big novel by Soul was supposed to come out first. Then you're supposed to have about a month or so. They're going to do the Ireland novel, the junior novel. And then you've got like 3 months, and then you'd have a mini, which was going to be the High Republic, the comic book by Marvel that came out. That was going to go into a bigger event because after that mini, you'd have the IDW open up and going. That got all screwed up. Now they just front loaded everything, put them all together. With that being said, the reading order isn't too screwed up. If you read the comic book first, it does give away a couple things,
I
but
heard someone dies in it.
in what?
The comic.
There's
I'm
a lot of
just
people that
joking.
die in the novel. But it gives somebody loses an arm. That's not a big secret because you
Is it Luke
see it in the
Skywalker?
comic. No, not Luke Skywalker. He's not in this, and neither is Baby Yoda, or the child,
I'm
or
out.
Oh,
the-
dude, yes. I had
No
a great
Grogu,
story
I'm
That
about
was Matt hit me up with that. Matt, you can tell that story real quickly.
I had a great
Either
story
way,
on that.
The novel's really good. Both of them are good. I really enjoyed them. They have them audio too. So if I know people sometimes don't have time to read it, or they don't take baths like I do. So if you don't take a bath, just put on the music, do whatever you have to get it done. I think you'll enjoy it. I haven't heard the audio.
She said.
I haven't heard the audio, so I can't comment on that. But I really did enjoy the novel. I really did. Okay. That's my review on the novel, I guess, because I'm
Oh, you
not going to spoil
fucking
it.
suck.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get into it.
Yeah, the JJ
review was
Maxwell asked
novel.
about the JR novel. It is decent. Yeah. Is that or the gray stuff? Because I love gray, so I think that one. Ireland came out with what I don't know. I can't follow what they're calling it. They're not calling it kid. It's like junior novel, youth reader or something. I can't follow what they're calling them. I just know that the Ireland book was good. The Soul book was very, very good. Very, very good. Yes. Gray is a good writer. She's one of the better Star Wars writers. Correct. Yes. Lopez. Do you need both novels? No. I would say that you need the first novel. And by the way, Out of Print is selling something cool right now. I didn't buy it. It has a alternate dust jacket. It comes with a pair of socks and a pin. So if you're into all that type of stuff, whatever, man. If you're into it, the last I checked, it was still there. It's $50 instead of whatever you pay. But I collect all the Barnes and Noble's exclusives, so I already bought it.
And that dust jacket was dope, man. That thing is cool looking.
The one where they're riding on the horses. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called the Marco
It'd be better
picture.
if you got pajamas with it.
The novels aren't sought after as much as the comics. Actually, Eric, so this is a funny thing, and we've gotten to it in other videos too, especially covering one of our Thrawn videos. There are some of the exclusives. This is the weirdest thing, and this is probably the thing that hurt the novels the most. When you used to go to Celebration, they would have specialty novels that they would sell there. There was lines. They'd sell out. They sell for a lot. If you look at the Thrawn one, even the Ascendant one, the blue one that came out recently, the exclusive ones that they have sell out very quickly. They're very hard to get, and the prices on them raise real quickly. Padawan and High Republic is sought after. Okay, are we going to go through, show the pictures of this, or am I just going to play a Q&A?
Oh, yeah, I was going to tell my story real quick.
Okay, tell your story. Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm out there in my LCS waiting in line the other day, and this guy started talking to me about how pumped he is for High Republic, and he's like, "Man, I'm so pumped! You get to see Grogu as a Jedi," and I was like, "No, bro, I'm pretty sure that's Yoda because I'm pretty sure this takes place before the prequels." And he literally goes like this. He pulls the cover off the shelf, this cover, and he's like, "No, that is Grogu." I was like, "I'm pretty sure that's Yoda, bro." And he's like, "No, that's Grogu. Do you even watch Mandalorian?" I go, "Dude," I'm not a big Star Wars fan. I like Star Wars. I dabble, and I like to pretend like I know what I'm talking about. But I get all my Star Wars information from a YouTube show called Tales from the Dark Side. So I'm pretty sure that's Yoda, but I don't know what I'm talking about.
I appreciate if you sent somebody to our site.
Yeah, and then he called you Roethlisberger.
Oh, is that who it was? Yeah. That's the guy. That's awesome. That is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I watched Mando. I'm not an expert, but even I knew this was before the prequel, so I was just like, whatever, dude.
But you know what? And in the review too.
But I did say go to Tales from the Dark Side. That I'll plug the channel. I don't care.
I appreciate it, man. I really do. And if you guys haven't seen my review, we're not gonna give the full review here. Feel free to go watch it. I think I need a couple more watches on that, or they're really are gonna suspend me on this channel. But yeah, so we covered the covers a little bit more. These are cool. Obviously, you guys watched this show, so you all ordered the Hans. I do know somebody did send me an Instagram picture where he's like, "Thanks for that," and he's got a whole one of these black short boxes full of them. The middle cover is cool. I will say this: only 2 characters on the middle cover actually show up in the book. It's Skier and what's her name? Solo. What's her name?
Kiwi.
Yeah. So Kiwi. The Hans is better in person, I think, even than it looks in there. And I definitely think that's the winner. And Chad can tell me if I'm wrong, but I think the winner on these 3 covers on looks alone was the Hans.
Absolutely. Tenfold. I gotta find one. I gotta get one.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
What are they going for now? $50 or $70 or something?
No, not for the Hans.
That was at 25. What is
25.
the Hans going for? They're going for what, $30?
Maybe. That'd be nice. Okay, so next slide. Let's go through there. I mean, I like the Hans. I hope everybody.
Hold on. Solo Wookiee in a span of like not even 10 seconds went. I think they're going for 30, 50, 60, 70, 80. What are they going for? Like $20, $40, $100?
It keeps climbing, and I just, it's another one of those books where it's like,
why don't we find out what they're going for? Hold on.
I think it's $30. Yeah,
He's just trying to auctioneer himself right out of being able to buy a copy. Is all he's trying to do.
I was sitting there going, "Holy fuck!" He has no idea. He's just saying words.
So that's Star Wars, the Han variant.
Yeah,
I looked. What was it, last Wednesday? I think it was last Wednesday, and they were selling for $30. And I refused to look since then. So in my mind, they're going for fucking $80 now.
So you look like you can get them for about 30. One sold for 30 the 9th. So you can get sets for 50. So
yeah,
crazy.
Okay,
that's crazy. Yeah.
There's so many of these that have been printed too.
Yeah, we'll talk about that because I think that was something that was a misconception on this, and we kind of try to heads up everybody. Look, there's a lot of there's boards that I'm on, like super dork boards, where there really are people that don't read the comics that are Star Wars fans, even gaming fans, like tabletop gaming fans, that were looking for these books. So that's some of it too. It wasn't all just people buying it up for first appearance and stuff. There actually was a demand for it, but I think, just like the other site we talked about earlier, there's another site that kind of did something a little bit, in my opinion, disingenuous, and we'll hit it up. Of these covers, though, real quickly, I have to thank Brian McClay, even though he said he forgot maybe how he referenced it. But the 1 in 25, because of something he said after I said it looked like complete trash when it wasn't finished. He said, "Come on, don't be so hard on it." I ended up getting 2 covers for a ratio. Well, kind of. I do the FOC thing, so it's like 170. To a cover.
Which is funny because last night McClay was like, I don't like it as much as when I first saw it.
No. Yeah. The unfinished one. No, wait. The unfinished one, not the finished one. The finished one, I think we all agree that the Hans in the finished cover for the 1 in 25.
All right, look at the difference. So this is the original, what they said it was originally going to look like. Yeah. And now look at what they put out. They're 2 totally different covers. That one looks great. That one looks like dog shit.
Good. So, I'm glad you're saying that now. I'm glad you didn't say that before because you saved me and I ended up getting 2 of these. I really appreciate it. They are. It is hot. I think it looks really good. The way they finished it off looks great. I will say this: the 1 in 10 surprisingly did not in person, and maybe it's just because I got fatigued from seeing it so much. Didn't tickle my fancy as much. And then we have the second print. Remember that's lower. That was a very short window to order and closed, and they popped it up real quickly. I do have some of these coming. I will disclose that I have a handful, as in a handful's 10 for me. So I have 10 of these coming, just so that it's not confused that I did order these and I like them.
I think that 1 in 10 is a solid buy, and I think it's because later on, we're going to find out who and what these two are all about. And I think this book is going to get slept on right now because a lot of people are just not into who they are. And then when they get revealed later in the storyline, people are going to be like, oh, those people are, BA. And then everyone's going to be like, I got to get that 1 in 10 because they're on the cover and yada, yada.
I will tell you, thank you for the guy that corrected my pronunciation very thoroughly on the Nile. It is the Nile. I will tell you that was one of the chapters in the novel following them that I kept having to get back to because they are very cool. I am not saying that these two people on the cover are going to be big characters, these actual two that are on the cover. I'm also not saying that they may not be big characters. I'm saying that the character in general, their story arc of those people is really cool. And when we were talking about Ro, which we told you if he ever shows up, the one-eyed guy, still look for that because he's a winner of a character in my books, in my opinion, either way. All right. What's the next slide? What do we got next here, man?
Real quick. Wait, go back to that real quick. Have you, Marco, you're really, really, even more than me, you and Brian are probably more familiar with Star Wars covers than anybody I know. Have you ever seen a lightsaber glow like that 1 in 25 on a book?
I think
the way they did the artwork on that lightsaber, just it's dumbfounding to me how well they hit that.
Star Wars Tales, the Mace Windu one.
The Windu one, but I don't think the burnout from where the lightsaber hits, I think is just like that top portion. I know she's missing a leg. I know they pulled a Leinfeld, and if you put both together, you get 2 legs. That is funny, Joe. But no, I think that portion of her chopping through the tree thing is exceptional. Yes, exceptional.
I just think the way that blade glows like that just pops, man.
Yeah, it's the way they did it to where it shows where the blade has been versus where it is now.
I mean, that's good, Brian, but I don't think that's on the same quality as that 1 in 25. No, I think because of the burn, because of what Matt just said. Yes. Yeah. I mean, it looks like it's moving.
Amazing. I like it.
Good. I will talk about Joe. I'll talk about that too a little bit. So this is really cool, and this might help out your friend that called me Ben Roethlisberger. Hopefully from now on,
he's my friend now, right?
hopefully from now on, they do. I loved it, dude. I thought it was a funny comment. By the way, I thought it was hilarious. The timeline that they used to do in the novels, which got too big and too bulky, they now have streamlined that and put into the comics. That was really cool. In our breakdown, we kind of break down the character list. We use this phase 1 thing to break it down and kind of tell you. If you look at the High Republic in the bottom corner, obviously the twins who do not show up in the book do show up on a cover. The rest of the 3 characters there all have first appearances in that book. In the second grouping, we're going to see, this is really cool because somebody just asked about it. The character on the right, I didn't talk about this in the review because we haven't read the IDW book, but the guy on the right's nickname is Bucket of Blood, and he will be the RI. Supposedly, now listen, he might not because they did change it, and we'll talk about it later. They're changing the RIs on the IDW, but he's supposed to be the RI on the IDW #2 book. So Bucket of Bloods as a Star Wars character, and in a kid's book. I think that's a winner either way. If we go up to the top, most of those characters. 1, 2, 3. So Chris, I know we can't blow this up anymore. Chris, the Wookiee, definitely looks like shows up in the.
Blow it up more. What do you?
Can we? Yeah, just go up to the where it says Light of the Jedi. So of these characters up here, most of them do show up at one point or the other. Some of them are cameos, like Gios and Man seem to be cameos. Same thing with Burr and Sit the Hammerhead. They might actually have Porter in there too. If they do, that's one of my favorite characters. But Avar Kriss obviously has a big part into it. Yoda does show up in the book, and so does, if we reduce this again to the Jedi Council members.
Grogu.
Yeah, Grogu.
Yeah, it's Grogu, bro.
Go down. So Vatar and Grogu show up in the. Grogu doesn't. Yoda.
So if he would have opened up the book, he would have seen Yoda.
Yes,
you would have seen Yoda. Yes. Yoda's in it, not Grogu. But yeah, so there's a lot of characters in it. The storyline was a little wordy, but good. because it's a picture book. Yeah, go watch the review for the rest, I guess. What do we got for our next book?
All I know is if Keanu Reeves isn't cast to play this character in a movie, that's a missed opportunity.
Yeah, I will say this. So I spent a long time on the floor, and this book, although the LCS,
What were you doing on the floor?
LCS floor. I spent a long time in the comic book store, especially just to hear when like a lot of.
Oh, I thought you said floor. I was like,
floor. I meant comic book floor, like on the floor instead of like, oh, I'm sitting at home in front of a computer. I'm on the floor. So I was in there for, believe it or not, I was actually helping them bag and board at one point just to kind of check it out too. Now they order a lot. Obviously they had, I think of the 125s, they were selling them for $50 and they had 6 available when the doors opened. They sold out of those probably an hour 45, hour 30 into it. And that was probably, 75 people went through. The 1 in 10s, that was the last one to sell. They probably had about 10 when the door opened. Pretty good shape. They still had probably about 200 of the covers. Eventually, after the first 30 minutes, they started going to like a 2 per. You could only get 2 of the covers. A, B, or C, didn't matter. And then went down to 1 probably after that. I do have one hell of a life.
In the back of trucks and on floor.
Right? Yeah.
And don't forget the tub.
So, I mean, that's kind of how it went there. I will say that like I said, the AH Wonder Woman sold out before it, and so did the Spawn crossover covers. But besides that, this was definitely hot. Almost everybody had at least 1, if not 2 copies of this book in some way or another. There was one guy that kept coming back in and trying to like buy more copies and didn't think the guy was going to notice that it was the same guy coming back in and trying to buy more copies, but whatever. But yeah, it was really cool. It was good to see. And it was good to see that it was some people were generally excited about this and were reading it in line and nodding their head and going, okay, this is pretty good. So as far as I'm concerned, it had a good review the day of release.
I just like that the timeline. I was like, I messaged you. I was like, we should put the timeline in this. And you're like, no, I think most people know that. And I was like, well, let me tell you about this guy that I just talked to.
Right.
And clearly not everybody knows this.
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard that too. I heard that there was a lot of stores that did. Oh, there, I circled it and did all the details. Good. Talked over it so we could. So here we go. Red is definitely in the first one. Lights, she definitely showed up. Purple circles are people we think made cameos. In the second group, the IDW group, we know for sure that the red box is showing up where we think the green box is cameos. Purple underneath the Jedi Council, which is just 2 people, Yoda and what's his name? They definitely showed up. And then in the High Republic, red box is people who either showed up on a cover or cameoed, where purple box is first appearance. Wow, that looks a lot better than I thought it would look. I don't know. Maybe it sucks. It probably sucks. Probably listen to it's bad. Okay, so High Republic next.
Wait. What was your question, Kyle? About cameos?
Oh, I said it looks like Keanu Reeves made a cameo.
He did. Yes, Keanu Reeves did make a cameo in the book, as far as we know. So there you go. This looks like, yeah.
Oh,
Thank you. Thank you, John Mantel. It was about that. So people were asking about this too. So, and we'll get into the difference of the print runs and two and how both of them go. I know that they said there's a lot of shortage, and this is what I'm going to say about that. I know for a fact I've seen some of the shipping boxes that come out there. The Marvel print run was enormous, and it also sold out. That's the 2 things I know. It was enormous, also sold out. We'll break it down a little bit more. This book, even though they reopened it up and they changed the RI. So if we remember the RI originally was going to be a lot like the Nile characters, but it was going to be 2 of the Padawan characters on the front cover. They have now changed this. They came out with this Yoda cover, which I think is phenomenal.
Oh, that's Yoda?
Or
I thought that was yogurt.
That's Grogu.
Dude,
That's not yogurt?
Off his fucking ear.
I thought that was yogurt.
Yogurt.
You don't think it's good? I thought it was good. I know I've heard Rick's reviews on it. I'm getting a couple of these. I think 3.
I like it. I would pick it up if I.
Yeah, I mean, no, I think it's a good cover. I really do like it. A lot of these RIs have value. Sometimes you can find them in the shelves because people in the kiddie book section just throw them all up there. So look for them in your stores. The the ordering process is different with this. I do like the color instead of going with the black and white color or the one. And, it's probably going to have a similar amount of new characters and show-offs in this too. So it's worth it picking up for that. What I've heard of some of the characters in there, good. It's going to be good. So we'll see what it is. We'll definitely give you a full review on that. Glad I pre-ordered one.
Variants?
What's that?
Or are these just like...
No, so the A covers. So how IDW does is they do one cover and they'll do a RI, which is the ratio incentive or the retailer incentive. And that's a 1 in 10 pretty much. I'm telling you, a lot of people are ordering this book too. They just flat out are. But the difference in print run, like for Marvel, a big print run would be something like, I don't know, above 200,000, which that first book, if we can, and we'll break down the math on it, probably went over 200,000. Where IDW, if you get anything over, yeah, Ben Ross, there we go. That's who did it. It was Joe. That's the Joe. No, I don't know. Joe, is that you who did Ben Roethlisberger? Because it's funny, dude. I appreciate it. Hey, but so this, if you get IDW above 65, what?
Who is Ben Roethlisberger?
He's a quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers that was accused of
now he fell
various activities.
He might have brain damage. Listen, the 1 in 10 is going to come out if it goes above 65K in this. That's a big print run for IDW. We do know that when they start getting above there, because we saw it with the Turtle magazine, when you start getting above that number, when you start getting to the 100K, that IDW has in the past allocated. And I think that's where the confusion came into play. We do know this, and I did write down some of the numbers because I've seen it before. I'm not saying that I saw a delivery box from a printer or a set of delivery box or a pallet that was delivered. Yeah, right. Of cover A's to one of the distributors or one of the distributor hubs, but I did. And it pretty much worked out that in that box, there was about 37K can we go back to cover A just so that people can understand this? Because I know there's a lot of questions about this before, kind of how this works out. So there's a couple different hubs that these go to, right? A couple different printers that they use. Disney's not in the business of printing out comic books. They just aren't. It's not what they do. They don't. There's no Giuseppe sweating out, over a press, right?
What do you think they? Of course they are. Do you think they just have like theme parks and stuff? I mean, come on.
Yeah, and they hand stitch all those dolls too, right, bro?
Gotta get you nurture comic books.
So from what we hear, hypothetically, if there was a box that got delivered, it was roughly 37,000 cover A's went to one hub of a distributor on the East Coast. That's what we're theorizing.
AKA Marco's house.
Yeah.
AKA the truck Marco digs in the back of.
Right. So let's say there's two hubs on the East Coast. If both got the same amount, no other prints from no other printers that there may be of print, how comic books work and how it gets printed. And if you watched the Anthony thing earlier, you might be able to figure out there might be more than one printer. We're looking at just there. That's 74,000 copies of A alone. Okay. In two hubs. Now, let's say a little bit more math here. 74, two hubs. B had the equal amount of orders because we're going to erase number C for any overflow. Okay. Most places we're ordering, even from what we hear, let's just say get rid of the C cover, get rid of the Hans because that was a late cover, and just say that B was equally ordered out that. So just on the East Coast to do books, you have 74 plus 74 gives you 148. Now, an article came out early on when the book wasn't selling that well in the secondary market from a certain website that's known for comics. It said, hey, this has got 100K print run. Mind you, 100K print run. We know in two hubs, there was already 174K just between the two, not including incentives, not including anything else. So then they readjusted because a bunch of people called BS and people started sending them, I assume people started sending them pictures of something. When that occurred, they said,
Marco did.
Not me. I didn't do it. They said, okay, well, I'm sorry. My bad. It's 200,000 now because they were taking the 174 and saying maybe 200,000 between A and B copies. They forgot that the Southwest and the West Coast also gets comic books, not from the East Coast hubs.
What?
Yeah, it's a miracle how this works. if you just imagine that they did that the West Coast alone did, and the Southwest combined, which is a greater population, but neither here nor there, just did the same amount that the East Coast hubs did. No regional hubs mean we threw out regional hubs, we threw out Cs, we threw out incentives. Then you're looking at 174,000 plus 174,000. That gives us what? 348,000 prints just between A and B covers alone. That's pretty big, man. That's not 200,000. When you're looking at this thing is probably around. I thought it was going to be 320. I'm saying now, yeah, I know it's starting to hurt, and I've been drinking too. So I want to see what this actually sounds like when I come back to it. But like, so you're talking about, close to 400,000 on the print run just between A and B. That's not including store variants. That's not including incentive covers. Because like break down the incentive covers of a 1 in 25 across the board on 400,000 copies. That's not the math I'm not going to be able to do that math right now. But I'm just saying, when you look at it, you're going to get another 100 in there. You're going to get 500,000 copies, roughly between 400 and 500,000 copies. 500,000 copies is 90s numbers. That was print runs in the 90s, between 500,000 and 1 million. Just giving you history there. They don't do that many from now on. With that being said, the book undoubtedly sold out, man. If that is partly because of speculation, sure. Is that a large part? Maybe. But there is people out there who want this book, and there's people who really found this book intriguing. I saw them reading it in line. And yeah, some stores were sold out from what I hear, but there definitely was stores that had it for the whole day and going into the next day and going into the third. I went back to those stores today. No store has this book anymore. They're all gone, man.
My comic store put it on their Facebook that they still had copies to come get. It was one per customer
today.
They still
I thought somebody probably in our chat shared this picture. Somebody did it. I thought it was really cool. There's an LCS that said, if you want any cover, you could buy one for cover price. If you want multiples, you can pay market price. So they would, whatever the market price was. And then I can't remember what the third option was, but I thought that was kind of cool. Like if you want multiples, pay market. If you want the regular ones, pay the regular. That was kind of cool. I think he was up to 2. That was kind of a cool thing. That was really cool. How did people sleep on the book? Better question. How did comic shops sleep on it? Patrick, I don't know that some comic shops obviously did sleep on it, but are people, we're not even talking about specialty orders. If there's 400 to 1,000, 5 to 500,000 print run on this, is that sleeping? I guess that's the question. Is that sleeping on the book? Because some places really ordered heavy on this. Yeah, somebody right there, Lucas from Facebook is saying that he can't even get rid of this book. It's very interesting. Yeah, 1K. That's what Wonderworld said he ordered. He ordered 1K. So I mean, and I know. And then if you think about stores, he told you the store exclusive. Every store exclusive, that's 3,000 minimum because it's a Marvel book. That's with the trade dress. So you can do the math on that. And how many store exclusive?
One per store. Does that mean some of them get like 3?
Okay. I'm not going to answer that question. I'm just going to say sometimes these shows are late at night and people get confused. But what I'm saying is this is a phenomenon that's amazing. It was not once again, not a small print run by any stretch of the imagination. And but at the same time, a lot of places have sold out. Wait for the Walmart variant. I love it. But that's what you got to think. Like, look, remember that these big companies, the big 2, aren't printing presses. They get multiple shipments from different printers in there. You have to fill pallet space, kind of like we were talking earlier. When the numbers come out with this, even the guesstimate numbers that Comic-Con does, I'd be surprised if Comic-Con doesn't guesstimate the numbers that went directly to stores to be somewhere in the 400,000 range, which is over what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be 320, but since I may or may not have gotten, I don't want to say that I did, but considering that maybe I saw something that listed how many were going out of printers to someplace, and I believe it to be true, and I might have shared a picture with a couple people, and they agree that it was an actual picture of it, that the numbers are that high. They really are. And what we saw locally, the numbers are pretty big, man. But once again, amazing how much it sold out, amazing how much people really dove into it and really loved it. And that's doing so well in the secondary or third area market. I don't know what market, secondary market, I guess.
Well,
Yes, IDW is different.
Look, the numbers on Spawn #1 were how high, and that's still selling. And I mean, it's this book has how many first appearances in it? You're looking at the possibility of a huge run of first appearances that later could turn out to be very key stuff in the run of the story.
Sure,
so,
but I think you got to take into the time in 2021, in 2020, in 2019, and 2018 for a major publisher to publish roughly 500,000 books is almost unheard of. Yeah, like not even close. It's not even close. That's unheard of.
But you're only counting. You're not even counting what's going over to other countries.
Oh no! I'm just counting the 4 hubs here.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. I'm just counting the hubs here. Yeah, no.
I'm just saying there's still some potential for these books. Even,
I think a lot of them are getting read. Like there's people reading them online.
300,000 of them. I mean, we're still talking about a very key book.
Yeah, I mean, Venom, Lethal Protector for a while, and before the movie was coming out, was selling what? $9 for $100.
Got caught on fire.
Well, no, so it's like that's not how they do it. So like you add the print, so the printer gets designated. The printer gets designated to print X amount of books from different
one
titles.
Of those pallets off the back of the truck.
What? I'm sorry, I can't hear your question.
Did you buy one of those pallets off the back of a truck?
No, I didn't.
Well, how many people just rolled these up and put them in their back pocket and then rode their Huffy, bicycle home?
None.
Yeah, absolutely none.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Lopez. Our guys are never that big with numbers. Bounty Hunter 1. Yep. It was not. I think Luke being a man.
I just think that there's still some decent potential, even though the numbers are so high. It does definitely deter the end gross value of it, but
I'm just saying that I don't think like everybody was so worried about the numbers, even at what they first off, that article is wrong, and what I think it did was artificially inflate the market, right? But with it artificially inflating the market, I don't think anybody predicted the actual fan base that was going to come out for this book. I think it's a 2-part problem. Like, yeah, sure, that might have put it on some people's radars, but it definitely wasn't ordered in the majority of places. The majority of comic book stores, especially in my state, everybody was stocked. There wasn't any calling around trying to get it. Now, I know from people's words, I don't know for facts that happened in other states. IDW does work differently. IDW is a smaller printer base. They don't have as many that they've already produced. So it's going to be a smaller right off the bat. That's why they allocate. There was no allocations for the Marvel run because Marvel printed almost 500,000. There was a book that came out, though, that's very exciting. I know some people want to hear about, so we'll move on to that real quickly, which is Star Wars 10. And Star Wars 10, which, by the way, I know the 1 in 25 is doing good. Do not sleep on the B cover. It's kind of cool, and it was very popular. That's the one with they're doing the like 40 Emperor 40th. The other one that was pretty hot was the one where they did it with the all the bounty hunters in the background on
No, I kind of have a problem with this 40th because they already had a 40th of a very similar scene like this, and this is just like 8 frames later out of Empire Strikes Back.
Hey, I don't know what to tell you. The A cover was sticking around for a while. The B and the 25 were quick to go. One of the reasons why this is quick to go is because they introduced a new team, and we will talk about it.
Talk about it so much that you just mute your mic.
Sorry, I was pouring another drink. Andre's getting low.
It sounded like you dropped it on the floor and then muted yourself.
All right, can we go to the next slide, please? Let's talk about the new team. It's a semi-new team, okay? Oh, yeah. I love this too. Dude, I love they're doing the band. So if you aren't getting the covers, and these are actually, I think, pretty under-ordered. The character covers, the toy one.
Variant.
Yeah, like they had McCool on the last one, which was dope. And cool. Yeah, and now they're doing Sai here, and she's cool too.
Noodles.
Yeah. Remember, she had a rubber skirt. Anyways, so this is a supposed new group yes, and it is kind of, but not really new people. In the front, the woman with the black hair and the green jumpsuit, that's Poe Dameron's mom. Of course, on the way left, we've got Wedge. In the middle, Lampier. Also, him and Wedge, or Poe Dameron's mom, both showed up in Shattered Empire. That's really their first. They showed up in a couple other books too. This isn't the last time you see them. You've also got the blonde on the right. She was in Leia #1, I believe, when she first showed up. And then the ones that are pretty cool here, though, is his name's not Marty, it's Maddie, right? The kid on the right, he was out of Clone Wars or Rebels.
Mark Matten, it looks like.
Yeah, Marty Matten or whatever. Anyways, he was the one that was like guarding the ship up top and came down. I think there's actually real potential for him. I think that if they ever go into the Hera, because it's Rebels, whenever they go into Hera and bring Hera's kid in, I think he might have something to do with her. I don't see this group staying around for too long. I definitely don't see it in the New Republic or whatever the last book is. What did you realize? Somebody killed me?
Well, I was looking at this. I'm like, dude, Wedge's face looks terrible. Martin's face looks terrible.
Right. Yeah, unfortunately, they've drawn almost all these characters better someplace else. The purple lady and what's his name? This is the only first appearance for those two. We do know that. And by the way, when it looked like the husband was going to do something weird in this book, that's actually Poe Dameron's dad. We know the fate of both Poe Dameron's mom and Poe Dameron's dad. We also
Poe who? Wait, Poe who?
Poe Dameron. I said, who? You know who the hell I'm talking about, dude? It's like 4 in the morning over here.
I did, but the way you said it was fun.
This looks like Homeboy. Yeah, you probably can't see it, but it looks like Homeboy has a colostomy bag right here.
Where's that?
Let's zoom in on it.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Yeah, not good art.
Seems to be a running theme.
Like it just looks like a colostomy bag. It looks like it's like brown liquid right there.
Oh, is that? No, that's his helmet.
No, that's his whiskey.
I think it's just the shading. Yeah, it's the shading of the helmet, but it just looks like a colostomy bag.
His helmet. Yeah.
Well, okay, so the Lamper guy, we also know he dies around 34, but leaves all this stuff behind. Probably around 9, 10, right around Mando. Actually, Poe's parents and him are gone. So is this team going to be on a TV show? Probably not, but I wouldn't throw away the book, the 125, or throw away the last character too, because I do think he has some potential. But not really new characters, I think, right? Where's JJ telling me? Yeah, 2 new people. Everyone else is not new. There we go. JJ confirmed it. That is, see, that's how you do it. You confirm your own source on your own show. There you go.
And on this segment of Ask JJ.
Yeah, ask JJ. So
is that not that guy is the same race as the dude from the Mos Eisley Cantina?
But there are old, middle, and new characters, so don't miss it.
Yeah, look, the only one that I think has any potential whatsoever is Mart. I think because they're showing him here, I really do think if any of them has any potential to stay around for a long time and be someplace, if they ever bring Hera and Kanan Jarrus' son back, he has potential. The rest of them, yeah. I mean, we're going to see Wedge, right? We're seeing him, but like this is Wedge's 832nd appearance in the comic book. So how's that going to work out for you?
Definitely worth picking up then.
Yeah, so cool. Worth picking up.
Have his first appearance? No, but I got appearance 862. Get
Right.
bent. Do you got it?
32
I got
right
the laugh.
here.
There you go. All right.
I got it in the 9-0. Leader.
Current Vader is really cool. I do like Current Vader. Current Vader's good. If you guys, hey, look, that number 8 is going to probably go in dollar bins here in a little bit. So if you didn't get that cover, make sure you guys go out there and get the. Hey, and if you can still find the variant cover on that too, it's worth it. That's kind of a cool character.
The eye.
That is the eye. Yep, they have a Muppet of that thing already made. Okay, Vader's been cool. I agree. Yo, hope all
Kim is the one in the front lower left, looking at the group.
Is that? Yeah, dude, they did Wedge no justice on that picture, huh? That's really
No,
bad.
not at all.
Oh, jeez. I didn't realize it was that bad. I kind of realized it's kind of bad. Well, when everybody's hyping up, they're like, "Yeah, new team," and I was like, "Cool, this is a recycled team." This is
And
good.
that part looks like Bid Ray Bill after he had his power sucked out of him in Thor.
Yeah, he looks better in other ones. There's some other artists who have done justice to him. He's kind of a sure.
And I think they did it like it almost looks by the art that the Poe Dameron's mom is the character you're supposed to key on in because everyone else just looks shitty and plain.
Well, yeah, because like right after this, it's if you're following the Star Wars series right now, they're doing 2 stories at once. So the other story is Lobot gets. I'm not gonna remember it, but it has to deal with Lobot, Lando, and Poe's dad's over there, and pretty much they stick up something and go like, "I'm here because of my wife." And if you follow Star Wars though, you know that the wife and they're at Endor. This is before the Battle of Endor, and they're at Endor. So, and they're both for the Rebel. I don't know about Wedge. It looks like he's having
Health issues, yeah.
it
Literally looks like Rob Liefeld art, 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 somebody else. They're like, yeah, we need somebody better to draw Poe Dameron's mom. So let's just have someone jump in here real quick. It's terrible.
Yeah, so the storyline is I would say lacking also because unfortunately you already know what's going to happen to a lot of these characters. But yeah, cool book, I guess. Anyways, on to wait. Did the team first really appear in issue 6? Okay. Yeah, I mean, hey, if you really want to, you can piece the team. If you really want to, you can piece the team together going through these books. Was it Star Wars Tales 16? Then you can do.
13. Was it 13?
Then you could go through Shattered Empire, which actually I think almost all of them were in Shattered Empire 2. No, well, except for the one that was in Leia. And then, yeah, because they did the Endor thing right towards the end of Shattered Empire. So you could get all of them. I mean, they're all around, except for the one guy. They mentioned them in 6, but did not all show up to the members. Yes. But once again, JJ, as I think you said earlier too, they actually showed up just not as a team, excluding Purple Girl, who I think is going to end up dying. Maybe she's not. And then our homeboy, Marty McFly. So.
He's going to be in Star Wars?
He is in Star Wars, Marty. Yeah. Marty Matty, is that his name? Marty Matty?
It looks like Marty Matten to me. Or Mart Matten.
No, it's McFly.
I think
I'll give you McFly.
That guys, I think that character appeared in Shattered Empire first, if I'm not incorrect. Which maybe I am.
Two coats of wax on the X-wing Biff.
JJ, am I wrong? Did he show up in Shattered Empire? I think he showed up in Shattered Empire. Everybody except for the blonde showed up in Shattered Empire. She showed up in Leia.
Yeah.
Leia won. Anyways,
yeah, that's some.
He looks like the one guy from The Office without his glasses. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Like Dwight from The Office.
Yes, and Purple Tweakin' or whatever is definitely a red shirt plant. Yes. Okay. Yes. So, JJ, what is let's just ask JJ in the chat, your opinion on how long this team sticks together? Is it 1 or less than 3 books? 1 or less. Anybody else? Anybody else got a bet?
Sounds like JJ should be auditioning for a spot on Tale from the Dark Side.
Dude, I talk to him all the time in the IGDM. I'm like, dude, why don't you just come on, man? You know. Yes. Shattered Empire 2. Yes. Okay. He's verifying everything I said. Just because I had a lot to drink doesn't mean I'm off my game. Very good.
I'm going 4 books. 4 books.
4 books. Okay, cool. 4 books. Well, I can sleep. Well, now 5. Maybe. I don't think it's gonna last long. I have a feeling
I think we're gonna lose them. Like one's gonna die in like 4, and then another one's gonna die.
Oh no! Well, I think one might die in one of the next 2 episodes. Yeah, and then I think they're gonna do their little mission because at the end of Anyways, all right. Not giving away that book, but good luck with that one. You know, Star Wars sells, dude. It just sells. You can just do it, JJ. 2 books. 2 books, 3 issues tops. There we go. 3 issues tops. I like it. 2 books. Do it, JJ. Yeah, that guy wants to see you on. JJ will. He promised that he'll be on Tales. He works in the healthcare industry, so thank you for that. And he's just really busy right now, so we really do appreciate him coming into the chats. He will be on Dark Side, or at least he promised he will be. I can't wait. Very excited. Oh, speaking of that, Jedi Johnson, we're working out the details. The contract is very, very tough. We have it very stringent. We have to send it over to our Esquire. He has then gone back and made a counter offer to Jedi Johnson. If you missed his video, go and see the year-end review. He will also be hopefully making an appearance on Dark Side. We're right there. We're really right there with him. So hopefully he'll be making an appearance too. Did you get?
He better have a cool fucking accent too.
God. No, and you know why, Patrick? No.
Just to know, that's it. You're not gonna.
Hey, and Dr. Afra showed up in Mando too, bro. Come on with that. Which one was he? Was he the purple one or the blue one? Or oh yeah, by the way, he would have been 40 years old at that time. I know Patrick's just poking me like a bear, dude. He knows I got a big belly. He's just like poke. No. Yeah, I mean, look, I
poked the bear. Did you say Marco? Yes, I poked Marco repeatedly.
Yeah, no, if they did, like
once he said that he loved all the Palpatine clones, I had to poke the Marco.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what he did. No, absolutely not. Yeah, sell that book like it's on fire, bro. Absolutely, if people think that is. Look, it's great, dude. There was which one? If Grogu's the green one, which is the purple one? Or the blue one? Does everybody know what I'm talking about? Do people not know what I'm talking about?
Well, I do. They don't.
Yeah, I love the response. Okay, so in Tales 13, there's like this baby nursery that's got of the Yoda species. It's got a bunch of babies. I'm trying to replay it in my head. There's obviously, I think the one to the south is green. The one in the middle is purple, and the one on top is blue. If I got that wrong, it's late. I don't care. And then somebody breaks the glass and something to the effect of like, oh, I just got him to sleep. And somehow did Patrick send me that on the IGs? Somebody sent me on this on the IG saying like, hey, this is they're saying this is the first appearance of Grogu. What's your opinion on that? And I don't think I even
I talked to you about that.
Oh, you did? Yeah. Okay, yeah. Cool. And my response is, well, he would probably be
it's like it's in the book and it's like half cut off by where like the center of the book is. Yes. You only see half of them.
There was a baby that species in that first Bo-Katan book too. Guys, yeah, just buy all Star Wars, and then when somebody puts an alert, or I really probably should check out these guys with glasses or these binging things on the phone. I guess I should do that. I gotta get rid of the pager and the Nextel because, like, man, as soon as it goes off, what's that?
6 point. Clearly, that's the Roethlisberger baby.
Put it up there. Oh yeah. Okay, like the chat's killing it, guys. No, but yeah. So, in my opinion, what about the one shot? Yeah. Okay. So this, it most definitely isn't. You're correct, JJ. You're correct. That's not Cal. That's not. I mean, the Baby Yoda thing. That would be a far stretch for that to be Baby Yoda or Grogu. It just would. The only Jedi to be a Padawan twice over, right? And he also changed his hair color and also changed his backstory and also changed everything about him. But besides that, yep, you're right. JJ's got it. He's on top of it. He should get on. JJ, just look. You're in the chats, bro. I know you're tired. We'll put you on. Just come on, man. Doesn't work out, BBY, if I am correct. It doesn't work out, BBY, if I'm correct. It does, but the problem with that is that would be around like 12 BBY. So then when you're going there, if he was a baby and he was only like 5 years old, you're missing 20 years of how old he is when he shows up in the Mandalorian. Why am I doing math at like 3 a.m? This is ridiculous.
I don't know.
Just wants to be Luke. I do want to be Luke. All right. What else do we got? This is called Marco's reading the comment section.
Yeah, right. I want to talk a little bit of rumor news here. So 4chan, if anyone frequents 4chan, there was a post on 4chan that said it came from someone who has a contact inside Marvel Studios who decided to come out and leak a bunch of information regarding Spider-Man 3. Apparently the movie is going to be called Spider-Man Homeworlds. So it's going to feature the most dark and gritty moments in Spider-Man movie history. WandaVision is going to have connection to it. Peter Parker, you're going to see Charlie Cox. He's going to play Matt Murdock. He's going to have a few scenes. Kraven the Hunter is apparently going to be the movie's big villain, with Scorpion being secondary, followed by J. Jonah Jameson, who's going to be sending Spider Slayers after Peter the entire movie. Michael Keaton's Vulture is going to be in it. Mysterio is going to be in it. Yeah. So they're saying Willem Dafoe has secretly signed a contract with Marvel and Sony to reprise his role as Norman Osborn, and he's going to make several appearances going throughout the MCU moving forward. You're going to get a Venom appearance. It just sounds like everyone's going to be in this. But the leaker is saying that this movie is not Spider-Verse related. Spider-Verse is looking more like 2025, and that your cameos are going to be just that, mid-credit cameos.
I go to 4chan for all my news on what's going to actually happen in reality. Not to go.
Hey,
go watch dudes in their basement make stuff up while they're talking to 12-year-olds, dude. Yep, that's where I go.
Hey man, 4chan is where they leaked the stuff for Endgame, the footage for Endgame that showed the big moment when Cap picks up Mjolnir. So
yes.
Is it a big? Wait, time out. Let me ask you a question. Is it that if you throw enough shit up against the wall, eventually something's going to stick? Or is it that somebody predicted it?
That's a lot of stuff.
Unless you're Matt Groening, then I don't believe any prediction that you have.
I don't believe any prediction. I think it's a lot of shit against the wall. But maybe I'm wrong.
Matt Groening seems to get it right all the time.
I'm not that smart. I don't even know, dude. I don't even know who the Jonas brothers are. Do you think I know who Matt Groening is? No,
he makes The Simpsons.
I don't know who the Jonas brothers are either.
So Patrick asked about Electro. Yes, Electro is mentioned in the leaks as well, and it says that he's going to. It says Electro, played by Jamie Foxx, will have a new look, more along the lines of a combo of the Spectacular Spider-Man and Spider-Man PS4 Electro. So more probably like the burn marks than the blue skin.
I believe a meme of someone taking, where that guy, there's a leak coming out of that big tank and it says Spider-Man Homeworld on it, and he slaps that big rubber mat on there and it's like stop leak, and he just slaps it up there and it just stays, and all of a sudden nothing's leaking. I believe that meme more than I believe all this.
Hey, Matt, do you have rights to pin stuff, pin comments to YouTube channels by any chance?
I do.
Interesting. You should go look at the review. Very interesting comment. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
Wait, why? Because the Roethlisberger one?
Yeah, I was going to see if what's his name over there? Joseph keeps saying it was like, I can't remember who said it, to go see if it was actually him. And now it's pinned. Okay. All right. Yeah. Get back to talk about rumors and 4chans and the dark web and everything else.
I mean, it works because they have the right. JJ just said they don't have the rights to Spider-Verse, but Sony does. The only thing MCU is getting out of it is the use of Tom Holland and Norman Osborn moving forward, according to this. So,
it's just gotten to the point now where I've heard so much stuff over the last 6 months. I can't believe any of it anymore. I don't even believe the stuff that I heard 6 months ago now.
I just think this movie's going to be massive. This movie's going to be massive.
I don't see how they
do another like end game type shit where everybody's just
and I'm okay with that, and that's great. But one, I don't want to hear all the spoilers, and two, if that's what you're going to do, then do it and call it the Spider-Verse and bring everybody in and get everybody on board and just do that. And that's fine, but do it well.
Grain of salt. Just bringing it up for spec reasons and talking about in conversation. But Malena, he's going to be in it also. That is part of the rumor as well. I just paraphrase the rumor because I don't want to sit here and read the whole thing to you.
Sure,
but
no, I get that.
Yes, Albert Molina is going to be in it.
Current news. I'm just saying all these leakers and all these guys are like, oh, I got the inside scoop, and it's like, no, you don't. You're full of shit. Just shut up. Stop trying to shove stuff down people's throats. Why do you guys keep got to do?
So
and
you
I'm
have
not
to-
saying that you're part of that group. I'm saying the people who keep posting all this stuff almost just they put it out there and almost ruin it for everybody.
So to address JJ Maxwell's comment, you have to remember Marvel Studios is producing this film. Sony's just putting their name on it. This is a Marvel Studios produced film. Sony's just putting their name on it. That's what the Spider-Man deal is.
Yeah, it is,
And-
but I think he is kind of right. Like this is a lot of moving pieces to.
But so they say that Norman Osborn comes in because they came to the table offering Venom, and Kevin Feige doesn't want to use Venom in the MCU. So that's where Norman Osborn's coming in, and they're gonna run with Norman Osborn through future movies in the MCU and Sony alike.
So let me just ask, and I'm not knocking it, but let me just ask this question. So the person would have to be in pretty high level meetings to know all this information. Pretty high level meetings. Not a lot of people would be in that meeting. It'd be easy to point out who it was. Not to mention, do you think that executive is spending his time on for? I'm just wondering. Like what I think it's good for, and I think you're bringing this up too, Matt, is like it's good to know that that's coming because these rumors lately, it doesn't matter how ridiculous they are, it has moved the comic book market.
Absolutely.
Does not matter how ridiculous they are. Doesn't matter who has rights. Doesn't matter anything. You will get a week to a 2 week window where those books will pop. They absolutely. If that's your question is, yeah, all that stuff's going to pop because when people are so hungry for just any type of content that we're talking about it, man. People are going to put it up. Some show's going to go out there. They're going to put a alert alarm or whatever they do on the little. I mean, I'm once again not going to get it on my 2-way, but like. They're going to put it up there and say like, hey, this is a possibility. And 2 weeks later, it'll be pulled down. But hey, they did it for a little bit. People will go out and chase it. Do you have to pay for these apps that alert you of things like this?
A lot of them are Patreon type stuff. So you get the early scoop information through Patreon stuff. But I don't know. I hear everybody say this is what the Sony Marvel deal is. This is what the Sony Marvel deal is. And this is that, this and that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what to believe anymore.
Apparently, according to this, Doctor Strange, Benedict Cumberbatch has already shot his scenes. He's in 8 to 12 minutes of the movie, so 2 to 3 scenes.
And that's part of what I was getting at too, Brian, is that you have a job as a personal assistant to a lot of these people or high exec or all of that. You're going to risk that incredibly killer job to leak this for what books are you sitting on that you're gonna like dump to make up that incredibly decent job?
But there's also in this leak Spider-Woman news. So it's a Spider-Woman will appear in the MCU at some point in 2023 with Marvel and Sony co-producing it. Olivia Wilde is reported to direct the film. Naomi Scott or Daisy Ridley.
Olivia Wilde, she's in that. I like her.
Naomi Scott or Daisy Ridley are supposedly in the running for Jessica Drew, although nothing is decided.
Isn't she like she's royalty, right? Wilde, like she's
just started directing recently.
Yeah, no, she's like royalty though, isn't she?
No,
like
she was married to a quote unquote prince, but got divorced a long time ago. Yeah.
I didn't even know that. I just know she boned Jason Sudeikis, the guy who punched Grogu.
Hey, everybody can make mistakes, bro.
So
good job making nothing like. Yeah, but I think Joe, they taking good. The execs, we're talking about the high exec level ones. I think you get paid pretty well to be a citizen to a executive for Disney Corporation. They get good money.
that says that Thomas Hayden Church will briefly cameo as Sandman in the film. Kristen Dunst and Emma Stone will both cameo briefly in the film. However, Emma Stone's character may not be who you think she is.
How much fucking money are they paying for actors in this thing? This is good for movie theaters not to be open. They're going to be
has very small parts.
They can have all the. They could have large parts, small parts, babies holding apple parts, all they want. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money to have all those people in there.
A lot of cast. I mean, and I get it. They're trying to do another big bad like the End Game, just like you guys were talking about. I agree 100%. I think without going into a Spider-Verse, it's too much, too fast, too soon, with no basis, no backup, no story. Part of the reason that Endgame worked is because you had a lot of movies backing it up. You already had backstory, back content.
Yeah.
Well, you also
You know.
the contract was different because they had the partial contracts built into the overall contract, so you're not paying them technically that much money to do that.
Yep.
This is not a partial contract. You're bringing in, would you name 20 actors that I know? So if I know who their names are, they got to be pretty popular because I don't know actors' names for anything. I mean, and that's a lot of money, bro.
Yeah, and JJ brings up a great point. I mean, I didn't like Jamie Foxx's Shocker. I like the character.
Shocker, you mean Electro?
Or Electro, I'm sorry. And the way that he, well, you know, I keep thinking about Marvel Rub and my old lady. So
You didn't like the way he gave you the shocker, huh?
so I mean, I didn't like that Electro. I liked Michael Keaton. I thought they did some cool things with that villain, but was it my favorite? I really didn't like Norman Osborn and the way they did all that. Really, they're going to bring it back? They're going to bring back that flying snowboard in the air and Green Goblin and Hobgoblin, and oh my God, like really, don't rehash that shit. Let it die.
And it says the last thing here. It says that Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are set to return in a scene that, which is called can only be quoted as a mid-credit scene. Although it is said that Tom Holland and Andrew Garfield are apparently amazing on screen together. So we'll see. Grain of salt again.
Hey,
grain of salt.
Gonzo, look, we finally agree on something here, man. Me and him on the same page. We're gonna hang out now.
You gotta get the best friends to do
I'd
karate in the basement.
really like to see him bring back Toby as Spider-Man so that they could kill him off and
Yeah.
never bring him back again.
Look, I believe 4chan leaks over. We got this covered any day. So,
Hey, you ain't lying.
but just throwing it out there. That's what half of speculation is specking
Get
on
all your
rumors
stuff-
and right.
All that stuff ready, because as soon
Yeah.
as that gets to we got it covered, you got some sales to be done.
That's a lot of books to go by. If that is truly a solid like leak, okay,
There's no
that's a lot of money, man. That's a lot of money.
Okay. No. Hey. I don't know what to say about that. Like it's
So we'll move here real quick. The last thing I got on the show tonight is doing a little books that I think are flying under the radar into 2021 here. And I'm going to start with Spider-Man Miles Morales 13, the first appearance of his little sister. I think this book is flying under the radar for some other reasons. And if anybody read the 2019 into Spider-Verse follow-up with Miles, there's a character that debuts there called Spider Zero that there's been a big debate on whether or not that's his sister from another dimension. It possibly could be Miles from another dimension. But this character, 2019, we're in 2021, nobody knows the identity of this character yet. And it's real weird that they introduced Miles' sister and they haven't moved on to showing or introducing or doing anything with Spider Zero to show her identity. So I think people are on the right track playing those 2 and 2. And I think with Into the Spider-Verse coming, or Into the Spider-Verse 2 coming in 2022, she could be a big player. In that, I think she bears a great resemblance to Miles' mother. So that's his mother in the first 2 pictures, and that's Spider Zero in the third. I think people are spot on with that with that assumption. So
That's null.
I'm holding that book. I'm looking at that book. I think it's flying under the radar. I mean, you can still get both of these books for under $10. It's worth looking at if you want. I'm going to spec big hard on Venom 9, going all in that book because, look, I've been talking to Brian ever since Null was introduced. I've been talking to Brian being like, I think Null's a farce. I think that this character it's a smokescreen, and the big character I think is going to be Dylan Brock. I think the whole point of them killing off Eddie Brock is to see Dylan take over the mantle. So I think 2020 2021 is going to be the year of Dylan Brock moving forward with everything going on in Venom and King in Black right now. The other big one I'm going on with is Evil Incarnate Osborn. There is a character that is comes first appearance in this book called Toxidoxy. If anybody knows Toxidoxy or read this book, basically Norman Osborn breaks out of jail or the Raft, and he decides to put back together the Dark Avengers, and he starts a romantic relationship with a woman named Toxidoxy, who becomes the Dark Avengers' new Scarlet Witch. There she is in the Mental Scarlet Witch. And if you look at the Scarlet Witch TV show, there's a scene in there where Vision's holding the paper. This is little baby June's first words, tickle mother. And Toxidoxy's real name is June Covington. So I don't think Marvel puts this stuff in. It put these Easter eggs in there for you to find for a reason. So I think Toxidoxy's first appearance is worth taking a look at just for.
And that's Osborn, huh?
Yep. Mm-hmm. That's the norm cover and then the variant. So just a couple books that are flying under the radar that are under $20 that you can still pick up that might be worth taking a look at.
Nice.
So
I like that Osborn regular cover though. He looks crazy as shit.
Right?
Cool
stuff.
Doesn't that look like the Joker behind him in that shadow? Is that what that was supposed to be?
No, it's supposed to be a goblin.
Yeah, Goblin. Yeah,
It looks more like the Joker.
it does. It does.
With the chin.
No,
Didn't see,
I can see the hood, the back
The
tail
hood.
of
Yeah, the hood
on there,
looking off back
hat.
here. But
Yeah,
like, if you don't see that, it looks very Joker. He's right.
Real quickly, make sure you go down and give the thumbs up before anything else, before you do anything else, before we do anything else, before anybody does anything else. Hey,
Yeah.
really
Anybody got anything else?
That's a good show, guys.
I like turtle.
You do like
I
Turtle.
like turtles.
I like
apparently
turtles.
like Dockers.
I like turtles.
They still make Dockers. Dockers and Jonas Brothers. Yay! I'm on it.
Dockers and Jonas Brothers.
Zac Efron, the
On
other
the
Jonas
next
brother.
dark side.
I think
Oh,
that's awesome.
he's not a Jonas brother if he's got a different last name, unless
I hope
Efron's
that-
his middle name.
If anyone got anything out of this episode, it's that Marco thought Zac Efron was a Jonas brother.
Well, I didn't know they were called the Jonas Brothers, dude. Obviously, I didn't know they were called the Jonas Brothers. I just thought they were like a boy band. You know, I mean, not the one that says Zumba. Yeah, not the one that says Zumba. All right. Like it, give a thumb, give a comment below. We appreciate everybody in the chat. It was very fun
Cool
tonight.
shirt though.
Who's that?
Zac Efron is the Jonas brother. It's my favorite Jonas brother.
Who?
Zac Efron.
Fine. Is he? Are you guys joking on that? I don't know. What are you guys?
Zac Efron was never a Jonas brother, dude.
No, it's our new Comic Book Mayhem shirt.
Oh my god. On that note, I want to thank everyone for being in the chat tonight. Chat was fire as always. Guys staying up so late with us. We definitely appreciate it. Yes. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button on the way out. Hit that bell notification so you know when any of the great content across this channel goes live. And we'll see you guys right here next Saturday night for another amazing episode of Modern Comic Mayhem.
You guys are great. We love you.